or we'll get that back on.
Their apology, they can shove their apology up there. Hemi Panarin definitely looked like he got his mojo back. He got an assist. I was wrong. And welcome to another episode of The Final Buzzer. I am your host, John Folkowski, otherwise known as Filk. I respond to a plethora of other names that sometimes include expletives. So whatever you want to call me, doesn't matter. But I am joined here today by my co-host and the leader of Big Apple Hockey, Mr. Mark Williams.
Hi, everybody. Great to be back and the little impromptu hockey talk.
Yeah, and then we are actually being joined today by Mr. Jim Beeringer.
What's up? I do it off this phone. I don't know. What's wrong with my computer these days. I have no idea. Hold on, everybody. There we go. That's better.
All right.
Better. There we go.
There we go.
So Josh got the sanitarium reference there.
Yeah, love one of my favorite Metallica songs.
Yeah, it's in my top 10 as well. I don't know where exactly in my top 10, but it is definitely in my top 10 into some of their absolute best work. If we're going to be talking today really kind of about the playoff race and what's going on with everything, kind of just, kind of like, how like Twitter does spaces.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted this to be. I wanted this to be more like a space where everybody can kind of just, jump in. There'll be some things that we'll talk about. But we'll definitely be going over, the standings and everything like that. So without further ado, let's talk about some things that have happened over the last couple of nights. We could start with last night's talk, but the big headline is Matthew Schaefer ties Brian Leetch's rookie goals record for a defenseman.
Yeah, let's see what the bank account looks like today with some bonus money coming in.
Oh, someone put a bet on that?
I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know. Maybe. You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
Oh, it's crazy to think about because I remember when we were doing like our half season shows, we were talking about how Schaefer was like, he was at like, I think like maybe 12 goals or something like that at the time. He maybe just had like 11 or 12 goals. We were talking, hey, he needs another 11 or 11 or so to by the end of the season in order to be able to tie or pass the record. So here we are, and we're talking about a guy that's probably going to run away with the Calder. No offense to Demidov, no offense to Seneca, but Schaefer's been on a pretty consistent course to win the Calder Trophy pretty much. I don't want to say outright just because the other guys are going to get votes, but
I think he's had this locked in since like December. It feels like.
Yeah,
he's been clearly the difference maker. If you were doing this like an MVP voting, he's the MVP of the rookies. There's no doubt about it. I understand. Even if you want to use the term like outstanding season by a rookie, he's been that good for the Islanders.
Yeah, and you know what? The crazy part is about this all is that he was when you look back on it, he was a guy that there was some speculation around with having him go first overall because you didn't know. There was no consensus this year with the first overall. This was probably the biggest year, the year that I've seen the most where like opinions varied because of Schaefer's injuries. And, the concern is, is he going to be able to come up and is he going to be able to play at this level at his size with his injuries? How is he going to be able to adjust to the rigors of a full 82-game NHL schedule after being injured in his draft year? And what does he do? He not only exceeds the expectations, he absolutely blows them out of the water, passes them with flying colors. And now he's on the verge of making history. So,
Who would have thought that at the beginning of the year, right? Like, think about this. Like, this kid's really turned the Islanders around. I know Anthony talks about it a lot, right? He talks about the energy he's brought to this team, and I've seen it from the outside. I mean, this kid, what he's doing with the Islanders right now is unbelievable. Obviously, shout out Pete DeBoer, first win as Islanders head coach, dominating the Leafs, and they should have
dominating
fashion. Again, they should have, right? Like, the Leafs aren't that good this year, but a win is a win, and the Islanders needed to win, and they got some help. And Schaefer, I believe, was credited with the game-winning goal last night as well. But, I mean, Islanders, like, just still fighting, battling, and, you wonder where they would be right now, again, without Schaefer, right? Like, is this team even battling?
Yeah, no, and I don't think they are without him. Like, I think it's to a point where you're looking at a guy that can come in and have that rare type of impact right off the bat, and he's just been that good. I mean, look at thank you, Dave, appreciate that. Also, Josh saying crazy no games today, 15 tomorrow. But, I mean, this is kind of going off the vibes point like that we were talking about. I've talked about that at the beginning of the year, how Matthew Schaefer kind of changed all the vibes with the Islanders. But Kaylee's right. Like, he's just been such an infusion here. So I don't know how. I can't believe that one player can do all that, but he really has done all that.
I mean, look what Celebrini doing in San Jose.
He's a force, man.
Dude, I also just don't. Force. I also think they just went for the upgrade from Dobson to Schaefer. I mean, and like if Noah Dobson's here, the Islanders are not in playoff hunt. Schaefer is that good, and I'm trying to throw as many compliments as Schaefer without trying to sound like I'm insulting Dobson on this one. But Schaefer, yeah, you guys brought up the vibes. He's got that energy. I know I made the Schaefer energy drink commercial that was on Twitter and everything. A couple people thought were real too, by the way. But this is something that when it comes to him, he's been this breath of fresh air from day one, and just everything has been all Schaefer. And at first it was, is he just making everything cool? And then now it's him actually. Well, he showed his worth, and the Olympic break also helped. By the way, guys, let's not forget of that.
That's actually been key because we thought that would be a problem for some players, but for Schaefer, it's actually been a real blessing in disguise for Schaefer and the Islanders. So, it's pretty crazy to think about that they are just. That's where we're at with this. Because you never know with a situation like this and how an Olympic break can affect players. And, sometimes certain teams, Anthony talked about it with Columbus. Columbus was on such a hot streak before that Olympic break. And look at what they've been since. They came back and they were playing decent hockey. But over the last, few weeks, they have not been a good team.
No.
Oh, Jim, you go first.
No, I was just going to say they haven't played well. I mean, outside of that beginning start of that 19 3-4 start under bonus since January 12th. I mean, they come back to earth. I think it was 1-6-1. And, again, they had a big shootout win the other night. But, they went into a tailspin after the Olympic break. And, again, it came at the worst time. That break came at the worst time for that team. And maybe you can make the argument for some of the other teams as well. That break just came at the worst time. Because if there's no Olympic break, maybe the Sharks are still where they are. And, again, a lot of guys played a lot of hockey over that time. Celebrini's won, McCarr's won. Schaefer didn't. Schaefer didn't go to the Olympics. He could have. He probably should have been there, right? The way that defense played for Canada, maybe he is there. Maybe he should have been there. But I think if you look at it, I think the break definitely benefited him. He's still got legs. He's still going. Yeah, he might have hit a wall. But as for Columbus goes, I mean, they got to figure out. They got to dig deep and get back to their game before the break if they can find it, because it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I really do think that. I mean, because Columbus they're 4 points out right now of Ottawa, and they have Detroit and the Islanders to leapfrog, and it's not looking good for them because they have 3 games left. Everybody from Boston all the way through Washington, the teams that are really eligible still, they all have 3 games left, and I don't know how you do it. So Columbus would have to win out, and they'd have to get a lot of help here because they can only get a max of 96 points. So Boston, technically, they haven't clinched a spot yet, but they could be very close. Their next win could basically do it.
Yeah. I mean, Boston, to me, I think Boston's safe. Like, Utah was safe, right? Like, Utah finally clinched. They got some. I mean, obviously, the Ducks winning put them in, but I didn't think they would be, out of it. Like, I didn't see them falling out. Boston, they were pretty much secure. I think they need win and some help. But yeah, Boston's playing well. Like, you do the retool rebuild kind of thing, like the Boston way, the Washington way, the Pittsburgh way, and you hit on some of your young players. And again, it comes down to scouting and drafting, but mostly scouting. Like, let's talk about this for a minute. Like, Morgan Geekie in Boston. Like, that dude was not qualified by Seattle Kraken, who, by the way, just, Ron Francis stepped down to president of hockey operations. They're going to do this, I don't know, internal audit of hockey department, whatever that is, because, that's a phrase you usually don't hear in the National Hockey League. But that's a dude that the Kraken could have been using right now. Now he's on Boston. That's good scouting. That's good understanding how this guy fits into a system. Pavel Zacha, too. Like, Marco Stern come in there, new head coach. Man, Bruins are a threat. And here's the big thing I think a lot of people don't want to talk about, or if it's been talked about. Jeremy Swayman's playing to a Vezina caliber level. He was there at training camp. No contract dispute this year. That kind of really hurt them last year. Now he's fresh. Now he's back at it. The Bruins can do some damage this year.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the Jeremy Swayman thing, because I always equate that to NFL running backs that hold out and then they miss training camp. Because other than Emmitt Smith and Le'Veon Bell, there's a history of guys that don't perform well after they hold out in training camp. So that's just the NFL side. You look at the NHL side, you got William Nylander, you got Jeremy Swayman, obviously last year didn't hit the ground running. So, yeah, that's a big factor that goes into that. And he is playing Vezina caliber. And we talked about this Wednesday. You got so many guys that are up for awards that aren't even on playoff teams. And you could argue that they should win them, not on playoff teams. Obviously, you talked about Macklin Celebrini, Zach Werenski on Columbus, and then you have Ilya Sorokin with the New York Islanders. By the way, Zach Werenski at Columbus, 90 points, and they're not going to make the playoffs. They might not even sniff it. And in the Western Conference, they would win the Pacific.
Yeah, that's insane. I think this might be the one year where you see a Norris Trophy winner that's on a non-playoff team, and if the Islanders miss it, Sorokin still might be the Vezina winner. Like, I think this is one of those weird years, and I think the writers all understand it, especially when you have Buffalo breaking their curse, Pittsburgh with a brand new head coach and look like an aging roster. Who expected them to be where they are? Celebrini trying to drag San Jose into the playoffs. This would be a year where I think awards would go to non-playoff players. So
I mean, I'm going to keep standing on it. Celebrini to me right now. I know what McDavid did the day we had the show. I get it. I know what he did. He had 5 points that night. I get it. Right? Like, he's going to shut me up. That's fine. Go do it. I hope he does. I hope he does that. Right? Take it personal like Jordan did. But, like, to me, I don't know. You're telling me Celebrini's not the most valuable player to his team?
I just, like I said, yeah. Go ahead, Mark.
No. All right. I was gonna say, yeah, Jim. I got to echo that because after all, he's doubled up on second place on his own team. It's not like they're a defensive juggernaut. You look at their team stats, and I was trying to pull it up right here. Their goals for, they are, and that's how long it's taking me to bring them up. They're 18th in the NHL in goals for. They're at 235. Celebrini is in on almost 104 of those points. So that's almost half. And then you look at the goals against, and they're porous. They're third worst in the league. So Celebrini is really doing all the heavy lifting. He's not getting good goaltending. I mean, are you getting adequate goaltending from the guys? You know what I mean? But go ahead, Phil.
Yeah. So this comment's funny here. It's not a playoff comment, but a draft comment. I'm worried that the Florida Panthers will win the draft lottery. Even when they lose, they still end up winning. Yeah. So I do understand the sentiment here.
I mean, well, think about it. Think about it. The Boston Bruins can make the playoffs and have a first-round pick if it's not top 5 protected.
That is true.
Well, it's not theirs. That's the reason why. In this case, it is Florida's first round pick. I mean, but Florida was smart enough to say, yeah, not lottery protected. But, I mean, right now, if you're Columbus, you're probably going, when's Florida going to be this bad again? Certainly not next year.
Nope. Yeah, and then I think Dave's right here about Boston. I can tell you what they're missing. They're missing center depth.
Mm-hmm.
And they lack secondary scoring. So you look at Boston's roster, and like Pasternak obviously closing in on another 100-point season. Like this guy's just building his legacy as one of the best Czech players ever. I already think he's number 2. You ask me, he's got to be at least number 3. If it's Jágr and Hasek, he's got to be probably 3, maybe 4 if you want to say Stastny. But what he's done is just ridiculous. And just looking up and down that roster and looking what he's done with the roster around him. Like, so we talk about discrepancies in scoring. There's Pasternak at 99, and then there's Geeky at 66. Zacha having a career year. Charlie McAvoy having a career year, his first 60-point season. But where are the forwards? After that, you've got Arvidsson, who's having a nice year with 53 points in 67 games. But the centers, like Morgan Geeky, I really think he plays more wing than center.
Yeah, he's more of a winger than he is a center.
Yeah, like if you look at their line combinations and stuff like that, like he's not lined up at center; he's lined up at left wing. Casey Middlestat, who's drafted as a center, is lined up at left wing. Like right now, their lines are Geeky, Lindholm, and Pasta, and then Middlestat, Zacha, and Arvidsson.
That's been a really good line for them this year.
Yeah. You know what,
Jim, we talked about this. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I do like their depth scoring right now with Minton and Kuznetsov on their third line. I think those guys could be in top 6 roles. Like, and I do think Minton, as soon as next year, could be a top 6 forward.
But we talked about this. We just lost Jim.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully we'll get him back in 1 second because that's the question I was going to ask, the one that we talked about. But, I mean, you look at what Boston's doing and then what their matchup is going to be because they're probably going to get if it depends on how this works out. Carolina 2 points up on the Sabres with a game in hand, and I think they have all the tiebreakers. But you got to look over and think maybe Boston is probably going to get the Sabres, and then that's an in-division playoff series, and we'll see how that shakes out. I would actually probably say that evens it out a little bit. If it was, say, for instance, Boston versus Carolina, you get these ones that are across divisions in the early rounds, and they tend to be more lopsided to the higher team.
Well,
So I don't-
we'll find that out in the Pacific Division because Utah's a different animal.
Well, that's actually what I was going to ask you, Jim. And now I'm glad I have you back because we asked this question a couple weeks ago. Is Boston the Cinderella team of the NHL? But go on from there.
Look, I've said this other places. I wouldn't sleep on the Boston Bruins just because I think they know how to play in the playoffs and they're playing the right way down a stretch and they have the goaltending to do it because I believe they would match up with, depending on who has the top seed overall. I believe it would be Buffalo right now because I do think
right now it's Buffalo.
Yeah, so I think they can beat the Buffalo Sabres. I really do. I think the Boston Bruins could do it. It's like Utah right now, whoever they match up with Edmonton or Vegas, whoever sits in first place. I think the Utah Mammoth, with the way Nick Schmaltz is playing, Melka's playing well. This team, the Utah Mammoth, I joke, when somebody asks me who's going to win the Pacific Division, I always say it's the Utah Mammoth, even though they play in the Central. But they have a legitimate – no, but if you really look on it, do you think those teams right now, if you looked at it, the way Utah Mammoth are playing, they're better than some of those teams in the Pacific Division right now that are leading the division. And yeah, you can pick out metrics and what the Oilers are doing right now. I'm still not sold on the Edmonton Oilers getting to a Western Conference final again.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, the Pacific has really kind of been a joke. Like, and Josh even brought that up before. He's asking how trash is the Pacific.
It's a down year for the Pacific. Let's just be honest.
Like, I don't think any team from that division is really going to come out like because Edmonton's weaker than they've been previously. I don't trust Jari as a
neither. Yeah, thank you. I was going to say neither goalies won a playoff series.
Neither goalie. Yeah, neither goalie is really a true starter. Vegas could be a dark horse out of there, considering that they just brought in John Tortorella. But how much of an adjustment is there going to be to playing 6-goalie system, which John Tortorella loves to employ, because you got to love having Jack Eichel block shots like Marian Gaborik did, apparently. And then Anaheim is young and inexperienced, but there's talent there. So I mean, I think they're a couple of years away from really being a true threat.
I mean, I think Anaheim to me is like I think they're overachieving where I thought they would be this year. I thought they'd just be like just on the bubble potentially. I know Quenneville's a good coach and everything, but I think they're taking advantage of a weak Pacific Division this year.
I want to know what you all think in the chat here on this one, but could this be a year where a team like Minnesota or Utah, which really hasn't had the success in the playoffs, they pull off like some big upsets and make a little bit of a deeper run?
Well, if Heiskanen's hurt for any period of time, then yeah, because Miro Heiskanen got hurt in the Dallas game against Minnesota last night.
Oh, geez, that's not good.
So if he's out for any experience, I mean, unless he missed the end of the regular season and that's it, like he's going for an MRI to see what's going on. I mean, apparently he was walking fine, but still, I mean, if he's out for any length of time, that changes the dynamic for the Dallas Stars on their back end.
It's hard to exactly sit there and think Dallas or Minnesota coming out of the Central, despite how good they've been, and just immediately say that because the looming specter in the second round, and probably after a first round sweep, well rested, will be the Colorado Avalanche. And while both teams have played well against the Avalanche, I mean, it's just it really is. It's like knowing that the Joker is there in the Dark Knight behind the scenes working on everything, and you're hearing like that Hans Zimmer that sound that he made to kind of let you know the Joker's always there. That's what it feels like knowing that you got the Avalanche coming up next. Different for Utah. I can see Utah going to the conference finals very easily.
I mean, I always like to joke with it, but it'd be like, yeah, Mammoth are going to go to conference final somehow. But you never know, right? The way they've been playing this year, I've been impressed. I mean, I've really been impressed. But I think everybody expected Utah to be there this year. I think a lot of people thought they'd get there last year. just fell short. But I think a lot of people were picking Utah to make the playoffs this year. And let's think about this real quick. Think about what Bill Armstrong did when that team was in Arizona in the desert. Like all the drafting, the developing, the acquiring the guys. They just didn't have a good owner, right? They didn't have a good owner, didn't have a good building, right? And they get to Utah, Ryan Smith, he's done wonders for that team. And you could see it, Delta Center going to be rocking for their first playoff game. I mean, it's going to be a great atmosphere to watch.
By the way, Keith Kachuk was talking about that on the Wingman podcast, that Arizona was such a great place. I can't wait to see what Utah is going to be like and with their first game. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think about. You talk about the drafting and developing. Obviously, Clayton Keller, the ace there. Nick Schmaltz is got to be one of the more underrated players in the league. But really, the guy that
I got to ask you this question, not to cut you off, but I got to ask you this. I heard this on the broadcast last night. Since, it's been a weird year, would you consider Nick Schmaltz in the Selke Trophy conversation?
Plus 21. I mean, he's good in his own zone. I wonder what the defensive zone starts look like for him, really. I know he does play tough minutes, but I honestly think Nick Suzuki's winning it this year.
Well, yeah, Nick Suzuki. I'm just saying, but in the conversation, if you had to put nominees together, because Sorelli's been hurt this year, Reinhardt's been out. There's a lot of guys that have been dealing with injuries.
Fisher's been on a bad team.
Yeah, but he's
You know what? In the conversation, probably somewhere, maybe in the top 10 in voting. Yeah, I think that could end up being the case. I think you're right about that. I do think it's, like I said, Nick Suzuki's trophy to lose.
I think he's running away with that easily.
Not only that, but if he ends up getting 2 more points and scoring 100, I think that's lockdown for him. Because he's already regarded as one of the best defensive centers in the NHL. Now you got a guy that scored 100 points. Do you know how high of a level that is of two-way hockey? That's historic type levels. He would be the 5th player in NHL history to do it, behind Fedorov, Gilmore. Actually, no, the third. I'm sorry, the 3rd and the 5th to do it with 90 or more points. Or 6th, sorry.
And I believe he's working on, I think this is his 3rd or 4th consecutive season of a career year in points and every other, and the categories as well. It's ridiculous what he's doing.
I hate it because that's a player that the Rangers should have had. That's the guy they should have taken over Lias Anderson.
But you know what? Lias Anderson was supposed to help the team now. So again, I just can't help but roll I forgot who made that draft pick. Oh yeah, it was the genius Jeff Gorton.
Yeah, because he listened to Gordy freaking Clark. That's why.
Yeah, that's where that comes into. Guys, staying with the Pacific Division though. There's one name in this conversation about the division that could change everything in a heartbeat, and that's Dostal. Lucas Dostal could really change everything up in that division. All he has to do is decide, hey, I'm going to be that goalie from the Olympics. And bam, suddenly Anaheim is good.
Well, you could say the same thing for Vegas too with Carter Hart. If he can get back to his levels that he played with before all the stuff came up, when he was playing in Philadelphia, he was the guy. And if he can get to that level again for the Vegas Golden Knights, that's going to be huge for them.
And Jim, just to back you up on that, who was his coach when he played in Philadelphia the last time?
I believe John Tortorella, right? Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just a thought.
I like the thought. It's a good thought.
I come up with them every now and then.
Yeah, right. And I don't know. I agree with you. Dostal. When I look at that division, when I look at the standings in that division, when I look at the goaltenders, Dostal really is the guy that sticks out for me.
Yeah.
So you're obviously, we talked about Jarry and Skinner before and how that's just literally, that's exchanging a shit sandwich for a turd taco, pretty much. And then you've got Vegas. Yeah, Carter Hart could be that guy again, maybe, but I mean, it's still a risk. I mean, LA, Darcy Kemper. I mean,
Man,
I'm
right now,
not really.
Anton Forsberg's been playing a majority of starts right now.
Yeah, if really Anton Forsberg's going to be your guy, I'm not sold.
They still got to get in first.
Yeah, but they got exactly. But I'm just going down that division like Askarov in San Jose. Is that really?
Well, Nedeljkovic, I think would be Nedeljkovic or Skarov. I mean,
I'm not buying it. I mean, Minnesota's got Gustafson and and Wallstedt and Wall St. Paul. I mean, Dallas has got Otter. Colorado's goaltending, I really don't trust either of the Woods.
No way.
I mean,
no.
I think they're overrated. But Utah, can Vemelka really step up? And what is he going to give you in the playoffs? Like, can he step up? If he can step up and steal a game or a series, they could be dangerous. So
I mean, every team has question marks going to the playoffs this year. Like, there's no clear-cut team that says, hey, this is a team that stands out like we've seen in years past. Like, this year, legitimately, you can say in both conferences, I know everybody wants to say it's the Colorado Avalanche Open in the West, but again, Phil just made the point. That goaltending, do you trust Blackwood, Wedgwood, that defense? Like, there's still question marks with that team.
I was just gonna say, so their defense really like you downgraded big time from Girard to Kulak. Like, I understand
And
now
Byram's not there anymore either.
You got to make him tougher, Phil.
Bowen Byram's not there anymore. Like, they have, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna talk about this in a second, Dave, because I saw Phil Kosher repost or post his like synopsis of the whole thing with Vince on that podcast. So we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, I when I look at that defense, like, you got rid of a real good puck mover in Girard. And Colorado, a lot of their offense, it comes from their back end and their defensemen being able to not only pass the puck out, but skate the puck out. So you downgraded in that regard because you wanted a little more physical play. Like, but you went from a guy who can really move it to a guy who's not really all that good at moving the puck out.
No, Kulak's more of a stay-at-home guy. Like, he's great in the playoffs, don't get me wrong. He was good on Edmonton. He got to Cup Finals, but, like, he's not a puck-moving defenseman. He's a stay-at-home guy.
No, and now the bulk of your puck moving is relied upon two defensemen in Taves and McCarr. And if those two are pairing together, what does your defense look like for the other part of the game? Are those guys going to play 30 minutes every night?
It's debatable. They can't. They shouldn't.
They'll run themselves ragged if they play 30 minutes every night.
Phil, I'm trying to get you the records of all the teams since the trade for Girard. That was the 24th. Okay, so that was literally right afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean, just to kind of back up what you've been saying, since the 24th of February, that's when they all came back. The Colorado Avalanche, 15-7-1, and the Pittsburgh Penguins, 12-7-4. I mean, I'm going to look at that and go, the Pittsburgh Penguins are the ones that ascended. I know it's funny to say that about a team that's the fourth best in the league at that stretch, but I mean, I think you're right. I think they missed Sam Girard a little bit.
I do too. You know what? Honestly, if they could have gotten somebody that was a little more capable of moving the puck. Like, I understand they wanted somebody better in their own zone, somebody that can handle a little more of the physical grind in the playoffs. Understandable, but there were probably other defensemen that they could have gone after. Like, why wouldn't you have gone after maybe a Logan Stanley? Why wouldn't you have gone after somebody like that? Yeah, but a lot of this is because of the fact that he's playing behind a great team. He's playing behind a great team. That's not a guy that I look at and say, oh, well, he's a legitimate top of the end elite goaltender. Like, no, like, he never started really doing this until he was playing behind this Colorado team.
And also, let me just extend out from that because Wedgwood's numbers, if you look at them, 918 save percentage, 29, 6 and 6. But this is really the like the first time they've been that good he's been that good ever in his career. So let's say he lets in a bad goal game 2. Is he looking at the bench to get changed? And if you got a goalie looking at the bench, that's no good.
So Wedgwood is actually 7th in the NHL in goals saved above expected. So the leaders right now, number 1 is Logan Thompson at 28.1. Ilya Sorokin is 2nd at 27.2. Swayman is 3rd at 26 even. Vasilevsky is 4th at 24.2. And Igor Shesterkin is 5 at 20.5. Wedgwood is 20.2 and he's 7th. I mean, I don't like. I'm not really all too high on Wedgwood. Like, is he good? Yes. I don't think he's great by any means. Goals saved above expected per 60. These are a little flawed because they're bringing in goaltenders who have played very few.
I mean, like, to me, Wedgwood's a good goalie. He's a good backup. Like, I've always had hesitation to say he's a number 1 or he can guide a team to a stand. Look, I'll stay on this stance. I'm strong on my opinion, and I'll remain and I'll be very steadfast on it.
No. What I said was the fact that the bulk of their puck moving is going to have to rely on 2 defensemen.
Yeah.
Their defense is still solid as a unit. It's now you had 3 real good puck movers in James McCarr and Gerard, and now Gerard's gone. So right. Who's going to step up and take those puck moving responsibilities?
Not to mention when they won the cup, I was about to say this. They won the cup in spite of Kemper, not because of him.
Kemper was not good in that finals.
No, he was not, and they protected him a lot, right? They played in the attacking zone and the offensive zone for a majority of those games and the majority of those playoffs. Kemper was good when he needed to make a save or 2, but you saw if you could get to him, when Tampa got to him, they got to him. And but when Colorado protected the shooting lanes and kept the attack on the other end, he was able to just make enough saves to get them by to win a cup. So, I mean, again, he's a good goalie, but it was a different defense too because you had Byram, Gerard, Taves, McCarr. These guys were puck-moving defensemen, young, speed, but also the front line of that team was a lot different too.
Yeah. No, of course.
I'm not throwing them under the bus. I'm just saying if everybody wants to point to the fact that he's a Stanley Cup champion, this and that. Yeah, but did you watch the team play in front of him and how they protected him? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I'm more enthusiastic about Darcy Kemper based on his days with Arizona when he basically willed them into the play-in round win. And you could argue a little bit out of last year, which LA should have gotten him another playoff series win, but they totally fumbled it. So good job, Jim Hiller. So it's just.
Well, I mean, look, we can dissect. Yeah. And Jim Hiller is part of the responsibility because they played 6 forwards, 4 defensemen pretty much the rest of the series. And if Quentin Byfield gets the puck out with a minute left in game 4 in the third period, maybe the Oilers are not going to the Stanley Cup final again.
That's true, Jim. And also the other part of that is you challenged the same play twice.
Yeah, that didn't make sense. Well, also Brandt Clark didn't play. He wasn't really utilizing the third and fourth lines. Like there were a lot of questionable decisions Jim Hiller made in that playoff series for the LA Kings last year. Because a lot of people pegged the LA Kings to beat the Edmonton Oilers last year. I'm one of them because I thought they were the better team heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm one of them too, Jim.
I mean, for a moment there, it was looking pretty good until that whole disaster in Game 4.
No, it's honestly it's. I look at that team and I say like this Colorado team I don't think is as deep as the one that won in 2022.
No.
I mean, they're still a very, very strong team. My concern would be just Wedgwood. Is he good enough to beat a goalie that can steal a series? Like that. That's really what it is. Like, let's just say Dostal goes Olympic mode. And Colorado face Anaheim, and Dostal goes Olympic mode, and he's just refusing to let anything in. Can Wedgwood outduel someone playing like that? I personally don't think so. Would the team in front of him be good enough to crack a goalie like that? Yes. But I don't know if Wedgwood can really keep them in a series like that if it comes down to games that are all 2-1, 3-2 games that are edge of the seat thrillers, and it's a goaltending duel each game. I think he comes out on the losing end of that.
Let's put the spotlight on someone else from Colorado that kind of needs to answer those questions, and that's Marty Necas. You look at Marty Necas, who's been good in his playoff career, but we keep comparing Colorado to the team that won the Cup. Okay, fair enough. I'm going to have to do that then. We know Mikko Rantanen can carry the load and is a damn good playoff player. So can Marty Necas do a Mikko Rantanen?
Has Necas really been good in the playoffs, though? Like, he's got 35 career points in 60.
What did he do last year for Colorado?
7
games
games
and 7 games and 1 goal. Like, that's not good.
That's not good.
That's
okay. All right. To be fair, I will give him this, that he was still adjusting to playing with Nate McKinnon, the system and everything, because he does look like a different player than he did last year in Colorado.
Yeah, but I think that's because of the fact that he is playing with Nathan McKinnon. I mean, Mikko Rantanen was on pace for like 100 and something points this year if he wouldn't have missed time.
Oh, dude.
I mean, last year in the playoffs.
Rantanen was a horse, man. Like, Rantanen was a horse in Colorado. I still don't understand that one, but.
Okay, but last year in the playoffs, McKinnon played 7 games at 7 goals and 11 points. Beast. The next highest scorer was Logan O'Connor with 2 goals and 6 points. Like, that can't be the case. No, like, when you have players like Necas, Lehkonen, and Nichushkin, and Brock Nelson, like, Logan O'Connor cannot be the second highest scorer on your team.
All right, so I just looked at – all right, so I just pulled up the stats since we want to keep comparing this Colorado team to the team that won because everybody expects them to be there. Makar, 29 points, that won him the Conn Smythe, right? He had 8 goals, 21 assists. Again, Rantanen, 25 points, 5 goals, 20 assists. McKinnon, 24 points, 13 and 11. Landeskog, who was battling that knee injury, played through it, 11 and 11 for 22. Right, Nichushkin, you're getting depth scoring with 15 points. Kadri, 15 points. Lehkonen, 15 points. You had Andre Burakovsky, you had JT Comfort, Cogliano. The list goes on of guys that were contributing.
You got to remember, though, too, with Nichushkin, he's one of the better defensive forwards in the league, too.
Yeah.
So, like,
and if he gets you're getting
15 points in two-way play out of him.
Right, and if he gets going into playoffs, like, that's good for them. They need Lehkonen and Nichushkin and Brock Nelson to deliver in the playoffs.
Well,
not to kick a man while he's down, but they also need to make sure he's in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So.
What?
With Nichushkin, that he finishes the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. Well, we all know his history.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
No, I'm not touching that one.
We're not touching it. We're just saying. We're just saying need him on the ice. That's what they do. They need you on the ice.
Yes, exactly. The Colorado Avalanche are better when Val Nichushkin's in the lineup than he's out of the lineup. That is a fair statement. That is a very fair statement.
No, absolutely. And I'm gonna shift focus just away from this for a little bit because it was brought up before. So all right, and we got a poll up here. So
all right, poll question. What do we got?
Yeah.
Which team will claim wild card 2? Type 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the chat. 1 is Ottawa, 2 is Detroit, 3 is Philly, and 4 is the Islanders.
Ooh, that's a good question. Because 2 of those teams can finish in the 3rd in the Metro.
Correct. So I mean, but Philly's only 2 points behind Ottawa too.
This is
So-
this is almost like a fun segue right now because I'm literally the thing I was literally about to say was, I don't know if you all saw it, but Phil Kosher does his thing where he
does a great job.
He takes tidbits from podcasts and stuff, and this was on the Flying V podcast. But Vince Mercogliano said, I talked to a source from another team who told me that they firmly believe that the Rangers' interest in Brady Tkachuk is very real. If there's ever an inkling that Ottawa is going to trade him, I have to think that the Rangers are going to be involved. Vince also mentioned that he was told from a couple of people to keep an eye on Team USA connections for the Rangers, including JT Miller, who thinks he's going to have a fairly active role on being maybe trying to sell guys on this being a good situation. Pretty funny.
I already see Mark's face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand when JT Miller became Mark Messier in 1994.
Yeah, I don't know about JT Miller being a guy that says
you gotta first of all, before you even worry about the Brady Tkachuk situation, you need to worry about the Adam Fox situation.
So that was brought up.
That's just my opinion.
I saw an article. I think it might have been in The Athletic, but or maybe from Vince. I'm not sure exactly. I'd have to try to pull it up, but it was a couple of days ago, and yeah, it was basically like saying like an update on Adam Fox and his thoughts about those comments, and like things have kind of changed since those comments were made. Trying to find it and see if
that's good if those things have changed, because he's seeing what the team can be, and you guys harped on it. We talked about it on Wednesday. Like the young talent that's in this team that they're building, developing, you're giving signs of life. You're not going through the misery, right? You're like Fox is just not going through the motions, seeing it's the same old stuff, right? They're having fun. He's looking like the Norris guy that everybody thought, oh, he's not the washed up player that the narrative of going around the internet was. Like, I was still very a firm Adam Fox believer, even with that narrative. I still think he's one of the better defensemen in the National Hockey League. But again, knee injury, that injury against Washington, that was very tough to deal with. But I think, I wouldn't move off of Adam Fox, but you got to see what his situation is like, because some guys like playing for Mike Sullivan and some guys don't. Erik Karlsson being very public that he didn't like playing for him. So, I mean, you got to figure out. But I think Adam Fox is back to the old Adam Fox. But as far as the Brady Tkachuk thing goes, I mean, it's very interesting because we kind of touched it on it the other day too. Like, there's going to be a narrative about this guy right now. Like, I mean, you can clearly see it. Look, if they make the playoffs, maybe like things can always change, but you have to wonder if the clock is ticking on Tkachuk. And
Kaylee, yeah, thank you, Kaylee. I was looking for this. And I thought it was Vince, but yes, like Kaylee said here, Vince has said Fox has seemed a little more hopeful in his comments in the past couple of weeks, seeing the vibe, bringing the kids up, seeing more of a direction. I mean,
that's good.
If Adam Fox wants to stay and he wants to be a part of this team, and they can do something, then yeah, I mean, it's good. So,
you getting a phone call?
No, that's somebody else's phone. I don't know.
Okay.
Kenny's.
Let me start first by Adam Fox. For the people that want to complain about Adam Fox's season, I don't know who would do it, but
there's a lot of haters out there, Mark. There's a lot of haters.
Yeah, but Jim, Adam Fox, you could argue, is having the best season of his career.
Exactly. That's what I've been saying. Like, I've been saying this since the summer. Like, shout out Russ Cohen, because he's the one that's like, Adam Fox haters can go this way with it. But it's like, come on. Adam Fox is still Adam Fox. Like, he won Norris. Like, the dude is still a good defenseman.
And then not just that. I mean, but you look at his production, he's a point per game. I think there's only 4 defensemen in the league that are a point per game. And that's sort of never been Fox. And he's missed 26. So it's like, if they could get him for a full season, to use the term from 40 Hour Virgin, The guy going, extrapolate that. Yeah, extrapolate it. Put it out there. I mean, maybe you're talking about Adam Fox leading the team in a playoff chase, which they still wouldn't be in a playoff spot. That's a different story as well. But he's definitely up there. Mario, I think he is one of the better overall defensemen in the NHL. And I think he got a bad rap from the Four Nations last year. However, I mean, you'd be talking about him in the same breath as Quinn Hughes and with Zach Werenski and Cale Makar. I mean, this guy has done nothing this season except excel. He's been the best Ranger on the ice, and he blows away everyone else on there. And you even watch the games they lose. He is decisive. He tries to just do everything with the puck like that. He doesn't have a moment of indecision, which is where some of the problems have been. Well, basically the problem for anybody is whenever you have indecision, you're always going to struggle. I mean, Mika Zibanejad, he looks very decisive with all of his movements and everything this year. And look what happens. He's back to being a 30-goal scorer. So,
okay.
Starting,
yeah.
All right.
I found the article, and
you got it.
I think it's worth me going over here. So, on February 26th, Fox responded to a question about his commitment to the Rangers by saying that's a conversation when we're done playing. Then later he told The Athletic he wanted to evaluate the landscape after he had more time to process the direction in the team. But Fox sure sounded someone like who plans to want to be there following Sunday's 8-1 thrashing of the Capitals. Fox said, we're still trying to build on something and gain momentum and establish something that we can take positively into the summer, he told reporters. So, basically, like it looks like he's kind of, I mean, with the direction of the team and the vibes, it looks like he might be on board with this.
Which is good. That's a good thing. You want that.
Here's the other thing I want to get into. So part of this article is the two directions in which Chris Drury can go in, which basically staying the course with the youth or kind of hot-shotting it.
You know which one they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. You know which one they're doing. Like this.
But yes, so that's where I'm going to fast forward to that part because he lays out what they should do, and then he lays out also what the other part of it. So this part here says, even if New York doesn't land a big fish, my early expectation is that Drury will lean more in the aggressive direction. There are a few reasons for that, starting with his position. He's approaching the 5-year anniversary in the big chair and coming off the back-to-back seasons with no playoffs. And while James Dolan has publicly and privately backed his handpicked GM, Drury must be feeling the pressure to clean up the mess he's presided over, which was something that I talked about very specifically around the trade deadline. And I specifically mentioned the Vincent Trocheck trade talks. If he screwed that up, how long of a leash would he have? It also says there's also pressure from the veteran core, nearly all of whom who hold full no movement clauses, to not let this downturn linger and waste the remaining prime years. Then the team's recent play with an 11-7-2 record in the last 20 games and wins in 5 of their last 6 and seems to be inspiring confidence and possibly influencing what's next. So, hold on.
Yeah. I mean, look, me personally, this should have been done a year and a half ago, what I'm seeing. And, chat's been blowing up, and we'd love to see the comments. I want to hear thoughts on this because my feeling has always been you play young guys, you see what you got in your system. But everybody knows my opinion on the Rangers, whether agree or disagree with it, whether I'm harsh on it or not. The owner is a problem, organizational mess, too much dysfunction. This should have happened a year and a half ago when you were moving everybody else out. See what you have in the system. Maybe that's the spark the Rangers needed last year, and it would have carried over into this year. And now you're not starting this process now. Again, that's my opinion. That's what I see from the outside. That's what I'm seeing. So, again, I don't know what's going on with that. But, again, I like what the young direction they're going in.
Yeah, they're going after Brady Tkachuk. We all know this. So we don't need to worry about trying to figure out anything else. They could finish first overall, get Gavin McKenna. And then I've said this numerous times as a joke, but they play him on the 5th line and play Connor Sheary on the second line more. And as Kaylee's saying right here, Vince basically summed it up by saying he thinks that they should play young guys, focus on the future, but he knows they're going to try to speed this up as fast as possible. And he's right, because the Rangers don't do the smart thing. No, the Rangers, if you look back at their history, even when they've tried to step back and do a rebuild, they still fast track all their rebuilds. And then they still try to fast track or get rid of all the young guys. I go back to my video about the first letter. It took them 28 games to decide to jettison Lundqvist and go, all right, we don't need him. Okay, good. Then what were you doing drafting him and then hyping him up? I mean, is there any development with this team, or they're just like, you know what? Well, screw it. We'll just always go with second tier veterans. Because by the way, here's the other thing. Is Ty Cartier really this good?
Yeah, but if Ty Cartier was this good, why wasn't he working in Seattle? Seattle's a whole nother problem. I mean, that's
Seattle's a whole nother problem. But again, Jim, this is the way the Rangers have done it for years. They've always taken castaways and been like, maybe this guy is it. No, you need look at the most successful time in this organization is they drafted and developed their own guys. Carl Hagelin, Ryan Callahan, Brandon Dubinsky. They did end up trading him and Anisimov and getting Rick Nash.
I'll say this. The way they got Ryan McDonough was pretty good. That one was pretty good.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
That one, look, credit where credit is due. That was a hell of a steal.
I mean, wasn't a guy like Pavel Valentenko supposed to be on the NHL roster ahead of him, but instead McDonough, is the one that wins the job.
Yeah.
And then become captain.
I don't think Ty Cartier is a bad player. He's a fourth liner. That is what he is.
But he's on the second line right now.
Yeah, I don't understand why he's on the second line. He shouldn't be on a second line. Shouldn't be playing. Well, I mean, JT Miller should be a third line center right now. That's really what it comes down to.
Again, hey, I'm just going to bring this point up, and it goes back to the trade deadline last year and the JT Miller stuff last year with all Devils fans. And I don't know how many are in here right now, but I will continue to say this is why the Devils didn't trade for JT Miller, because you can't pay a $9 million guy to play third line center, $8 million guy, right? That was my point about this. You can't pay a guy like that to be your third line center. If he was cheaper, if Vancouver is willing to take more money, fine. It's okay. But there was a reason why the Devils didn't go after JT Miller and weren't going after JT Miller. As much as everybody's like, got to get JT Miller. No, you don't do that.
There's a reason why a lot of people don't or didn't go after JT Miller or don't exactly like JT Miller. I'm not alone.
I'm not trying to knock the guy. Like, I'm really not. I think, like, there were times.
Okay, I will. Who's a captain of a team?
Look. I'll say this. There are times where he looks disinterested, and there are times where he can play, and he had his career season in his contract year with Vancouver Canucks. No doubt about it. He had his career season there. No doubt about it. And Vancouver, again, this is Vancouver's issue, and this is a lot of teams' issues. Seattle's issue is one of them. Guys in contract years, guys playing well. At the height of that, that's when you should have moved them. But instead, what do? We give them an 8-year extension.
Now, but again, not Drury. Well, yeah, whatever. The organization gives the Raj Bear Award for leadership to JT Miller, and he goes out that night and shows exactly why he shouldn't have gotten the award. First off, he shouldn't have been considered for the award. So what are you going to do? Just give it to every single captain? Just call it the captain award. That's it. Don't bring Raj Bear's name into it. Raj Bear was Mr. Ranger, beloved by everybody. He didn't sit there after a linesman drops the puck and bitches to him as the puck gets wound around to the guy that got cut from Team USA for you, wins the game against you. Good job, JT. Can't wait for next year and your leadership.
Yo, let Mark go Friday.
He ain't wrong.
Off the trails.
He's not wrong, though.
No, he's not. He's not. I agree with it 100%. 100% agree.
And again, you want to make him accountable. That's the thing. You got to make people accountable. By the way, I wouldn't put Cooley and Greentree on the same line. What do you guys think?
I kind of like the idea of a
I
line
actually
like
like that
that.
idea. Again, we got to see what There's a
Well,
lot.
Green Tree's got to play on the fourth line with Brodzinski's understudy and Hemlosh and see what he could be.
Yeah.
That's how you figure out if it's guy's a top six forward. They got to play on the fourth line
Well,
for a year.
no. Yeah, well, yeah, that's one. That's another problem in and of itself. That's why Perot is doing his thing right now because he's playing where he's supposed to be playing.
And just to mention what Josh is saying right there, then I've been blocking Phil from talking, so I want him to talk. But it doesn't matter if Miller's hurt. That's the thing. You guys forget the no BS shirts. So in other words, there are no excuses. And Miller would be the first one to tell you that is if he's a good leader. Or is he going to complain about, they're booing us again? It's just that simple. Stop with the excuses. You're the one that said no excuses, and now you're going no excuses. Sorry, just play No Excuses by Alice in Chains.
Yeah. I mean, it's at this point, the whole thing has got to, with the whole playing her thing has got to stop. It's happened too much. It happened with Trouba. It's happened with Miller. I mean, and Kaylee's right. I mean, this has been said before. I forget who really kind of, said it first, but he is an amplifier. When things are going well, he's playing well. But when things are going bad, you don't want to take a look at him. He's just not. He's not the guy that's going to help stop the bleeding. Like an ace in baseball is really relied on to stop the bleeding, like a CC Sabathia was in his prime, like Garrett Cole, someone like that. Like that's
Mark
not
Messier.
Mark Messier, Wayne Gretzky, like Mario Lemieux. Those guys will do that. And I'm not saying everybody has to be Gretzky, Lemieux, or Messier in order to be one of those, because there are other guys that are out there. Mikko Rantanen can take over games and do.
Chris Kreider did that at times.
Chris Kreider, very inconsistent, but at times he could do that. And that's what pisses a lot of people off about Chris Kreider, is because he had the capability to be a guy that should have been a 60 to 70 point, 35 plus goal guy every damn year. And he wasn't until like the later part of his career for a few year stretch. But, JT Miller's just not that. No. He's just not that. Like, he may have had that 99 point season and that 100 point season, but why? Like, that's not the guy that you look at every night and say, hey, you know what? We're not playing well. We can rely on JT to get us out of this hole or this slump. He's not that guy.
No.
And by the way, we just got a text from Anthony saying that TJ Hughes, the Islanders, have now thrown their hat into the sweepstakes.
I think everybody's going to throw their hat into that.
Yeah, I think everybody. I've heard reports from Vancouver. They like him. Like everybody. Look, I think
everybody likes TJ Hughes. That's.
It's everybody loves
everybody. The sky is blue. Water is wet.
Well, look, everything will probably happen after tonight with Hobie Baker. And by the way, go back to the beginning. I still don't know why there are no games on tonight. Like,
yeah, why is that the case?
I'm just throwing that out there. Like
Friday night in April, as sure baseball's in full swing.
We got people asking who TJ Hughes is. TJ Hughes is one of the top scorers in the nation, and for University of Michigan, he's up for the Hobie Baker. He's one of the finalists.
He's up with his Michael Haig up with him too.
Well, I mean, no, hey, I don't think Haig is on there. I think it's TJ Hughes, Max Plant, and I don't know who the other one is.
Okay.
But for those of you who don't know, the Hobie Baker is college hockey's answer to the Heisman.
So here, anybody who wants to take a look at his stats, I just posted the link in the window, or the link in the chat rather.
And take it as you will with a grain of salt, because you can name some recent Hobie Baker Trophy winners like Macklin Celebrini. Jack Eichel won it, right?
Yeah, Jack Eichel did win it.
Jack Eichel won it. Yeah, Paul Correa, who won it in the past. But then again, you have Brian Holdinger. Here's the issue.
TJ Hughes is 24 years old. He's 24 years old, and he's in his 4th season at Michigan, and he's never really had numbers like this until this year. So he might fall more along the lines of a Matt Gilroy than he would a Macklin Celebrini or a Jack Eichel. Jimmy Vesey won it.
Yeah,
Jimmy Vesey won it, I believe, in his 3rd season, and he was younger when he did.
And you get guys like Adam Gaudette that just haven't been able to translate all their stuff to the NHL. Matt Carl.
Or Adam Gaudette can only play for like Travis Green.
Yeah.
It's a weird one. He was incredible at Northeastern in his last 2 years at Northeastern were really good. And then he plays for Travis Green and he's great. And then he leaves Travis Green. And then what happens?
Right.
But listen, I don't think there's a team in the league that wouldn't like to have Adam Gaudette in their bottom 6.
No, he's playing well for San Jose this year.
Yeah. He's
not on the numbers he was last year with Ottawa, but that was crazy. He came in like a PTO, entered the season. It was what he did was ridiculous last year with the Senators.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the way, Mario, TJ is not related to Jack or Quinn or Luke.
He's not even close.
Yeah, no.
But I want to get back to this. You know what? If you told me that the Devils were going to go in a direction where they were going to change from their core and they were going to go a little younger, I would think he would be a great fit, David Carl, for the Devils.
I wouldn't hate it. But again, does he want to leave Denver? That's the big thing. Does he want to leave Denver? I think he wants to go to a situation where he can win right away, too.
But here's the thing.
If it was up to me, and I was making a decision last year, I thought Anaheim and David Carl would have been a perfect match for each other.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going
I think Quenneville is a very good fit for them, though, because I think they need a guy that can bring in the experience, and that just needs to be he needs to be there. I think Quenneville is a guy that can bring those young guys along. You got to remember, he came in at the right time with Taves and Kane and Keith and Seabrook and all those guys. You know what? I don't know if Jared Bednar is getting fired anytime soon.
No, I think Bednar's going this way anytime soon.
I don't think Bednar would be. I like this fit. Carl for the Sharks would be something else, man.
Love it.
You got a young core there.
I like that. I actually really like that fit. I really like that fit because they're further along than Chicago was and teams like that. I think that would be a good fit for him. If the Sharks decide to go in a different direction off of Warsawski.
Yeah, and I'm not sure I'm sold on Warsawski. Good on San Jose to give a young guy a chance and bring some new blood in and coaching. But I don't know if I'm sold.
Unless they believe they did it, because I know it was different situations. But Montreal, when they brought in Martin St. Louis, they've just kept them there. Now they've grown. That group is kind of grown together, even though there was some whispers behind the scene. When is he going to actually be on the hot seat? Do they believe in Warsawski with this group and they can get it together?
Compare John Carl to say, John Carl. Compare Carl to say John Cooper.
Cooper had experience in the AHL already. He had been in Tampa's situation in the organization. He had won calls with Syracuse already. And let's not forget, John Cooper coached the triplets down in the AHL and just came up with them.
Cooper went through that organization literally from the bottom to the top, and then became one of the better coaches of all time.
And the guys know him.
This generation,
they had, like I said, the triplets were there. They brought everybody up through that system.
He's won at literally every level.
He's won at every level.
Every damn level.
Every level.
Carl has not coached at the pro level at all.
No.
He has no experience at the pro levels. He's probably the best we've seen in the NCAA, outside of your Jerry Yorks or your Jack Parkers, guys who have legendary resumes while
guys
they're
like
winning. Yeah, Badger Bob.
Or
I
on
mean,
the
even
or on
Dave-
the women's side, like a Mark Johnson with Wisconsin.
Yes.
Yeah,
what he's doing.
Mark Johnson was great with
No,
Minnesota.
no, I think he coached
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, sorry, yeah, Badger. I'm
Coaches the
sorry.
women's
I
team
knew it
at
was one of those
Wisconsin.
two schools. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But
So-
like you David Carl, what does he have left to win with?
If he wins again this year, I think. I know he just signed that extension, but do you make the jump?
How good is the bag?
Right, and also to me, this is what I said last year with Carl, and I'll just stay with it. Do I want to leave a situation where if I don't win right away, I could get fired?
Yeah, no, I think that's why he doesn't go to a team that can win now. Because when you get the team because here's the thing, I kind of also say this. Look, I know whether or not it's true or not. I always have the opinion of you develop a coach as well when they're rookies and coming into the league. And some guys just don't have all the answers right away. I'm blanking, guys. The Seattle Flyers coach that came from
Dave Hackstall.
Yeah, Hackstall.
North Dakota.
I mean,
he was a great coach in North Dakota.
Right, a great coach in North Dakota. Goes to the Flyers, has one good season, then they fall apart. Then he goes to Seattle, but he was an assistant coach with Toronto. Has one bad season when they're originally starting. They become the first team ever to knock off a Stanley Cup champion in their first ever playoff appearance. And then that's all she wrote for him. You figured it was going to be more out of them, but not really. It's hard. I think it's hard when you go from college to the pros because the dynamic is so different and you have to learn that. Guys, let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of touched on it a little bit, and then I got to jump off for a few minutes and then jump back on with you.
Yeah, but I got to wrap up in a little bit just to get started around here. So
okay, so then in that case, I have 10 minutes.
Okay.
But can Steve Yzerman be the GM that actually finishes the job? And what I mean by that is you got a lot of guys in sports. They kind of start the work, sort of like he did in Tampa. And everybody, as soon as they won, we all wanted to sit back and go, well, Steve Yzerman built that team. However, you look at, I'm pulling a name out of a hat, or in instance, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They couldn't win under Dungy. He gets fired. They bring in John Gruden next year, Super Bowl winners. And sports is littered with those cases of guys that they couldn't get the job done and then they could get the job done. So does Yzerman need to hand this off to somebody else?
All right, so I'm gonna answer that question with a question. I hate doing that, but I mentioned this the other day on a podcast that I did. I said,
which one?
Mine, my own one. Sorry,
which one? Because there's so many that you're on.
If there's somebody airing anything, you get Jim.
Yeah, Google me, Kirk Signetti. Just do it. Is it fair to say the Tampa Bay Lightning would have won back-to-back Stanley Cups had Steve Yzerman been there? Does he make the moves Julian Breezewell makes to put them over the top?
I think so. I don't. What? And the reason I say that is because of the fact that Yzerman was literally on a team that mirrored the trajectory of the 2018-19 Lightning. The 95-96 Red Wings were a 62-win regular season team. They had the record that the Lightning had tied before it was broken by Boston, obviously. And then what do? Tampa, although they get knocked out in the first round and stunning upset.
I still say if they win game one, that's a sweep the other way.
It's a different series, yeah.
They were up 3-0 and they lost that game. If they don't lose that game, it's a different series.
Yeah, I think they were mentally just kind of just blown away when that happened, especially losing that 3-goal lead the way that they did.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, 62 wins, they don't win. What happens there? They go and they get rid of Keith Primo, Paul Coffey, and Dino Ciccarelli. and they bring in Brendan Shanahan and Larry Murphy. And then
And-
they infuse the lineup with like
Joe
Tony
Coaster
Holmes,
and
Kurt Maltby.
Kirk Maltby and
Kurt Maltby.
They
You,
got
you
a couple
go and you
other
bring in
guys on
those
D.
guys.
Darren
So
McCarty, he was already there.
Yeah, McCarty was
Chris
already
Party
there.
was there
Chris
already.
Draper was already there, but now you got more playing time.
But the thing is that they went from a team that was softer and more high-powered offense to a team that was more well-balanced, had more physical play, more beef up front, a little more beef on the back end, and then they win twice in a row. And that's what Tampa did. Except Tampa went back to a third Stanley Cup Finals. Detroit found their way, and they lost to Colorado in '99 in a pretty intense second-round series. And then Colorado got bounced by Dallas.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they followed almost the same exact trajectory. I can see Steve Yzerman learning from the roster mistakes or the roster moves, I should say, that were made to make that team the winners that they were in 97 and 98, because that team was basically that 2002 team. The core of that was built off of what they made, those moves in the 90s.
Yeah,
yes, they added Robitaille. Yes, they added Hull. Yes, they added Hasek. And Chelios was brought in at the 99 deadline. But the core, everything that they had, the core of what they had, the grind line, Yzerman, Fedorov, Shanahan, they all came from those 90s.
Larionov was there.
Larionov was still there. That was another 90s move. So, yes.
I got to disagree. And the reason why, Philk, is obviously the move that I think put Tampa over the top to win a Stanley Cup was getting Coleman and Goudreau to go with Yanni Gord. And I think they did that at the first cup, right? The second cup.
Yeah, Coleman was traded at the 2020 deadline right before COVID struck.
Thanks, because I wanted to make sure I had that right. Anyway, getting back to this season, Yzerman would not part with key players or prospects or assets, whatever you will, to go get Vincent Trocheck. And now look at them. They're battling.
Or the guy that is in Minnesota, Quinn Hughes, is part of the reason why Tom Fitzgerald is not the general manager of the New Jersey Devils anymore. At some point, the assets you build, you have to move. I know they love all these guys. I get it. But at some point, the pressure will be on Steve Yzerman to deliver a playoff to that building. If they do not make it again this year, Dylan Larkin will have 5 playoff games to his name that came in 2016, his rookie season. This team needs to make the playoff. They lost out on a tiebreaker to the Capitals 2 years ago and would have missed back-to-back years. Didn't do much at the deadline. You just say Justin Falk, great, David Perron, all right. But you had a chance to go get Quinn Hughes. You didn't move the assets to do it, and you had the assets like Minnesota to do it. You didn't get Vinny Trocheck that would have helped you down the middle. Didn't do it. Didn't move off some of your assets. Again, this is why I bring up the question about that Tampa team, because is he too passive as a general manager to get the job and the necessary pieces to do it, to go get those players? Now, again, you could say these players could fit into the system or not, but the fact of the matter is when a guy like Quinn Hughes is available, you go and get him, regardless of what you're giving up, because you're making up of it with the second best defenseman in the National Hockey League. And I think that type of player would have put over the Detroit Red Wings on the back end, because then it allows Axel Sandin Pellikka, who for some reason you don't want to play, to keep him in the minors and let him grow the way you wanted him to.
Yeah.
Here, I'll get to that. I'll address this first because it's actually a good point. Like, you didn't want to make the trade and give up the assets for Quinn Hughes. So if you didn't want to go and give up the assets for Quinn Hughes, there is absolutely no way that you can justify giving up the assets for Vincent Trocheck at that point, because Quinn Hughes is the far superior player, and it doesn't matter. The term doesn't matter when the talent.
But it would have been a little cheaper.
What's up?
It would have been a little cheaper than Quinn Hughes. A little, but not by much. No. I agree with that. That's fair.
What's the number one complaint about Detroit, Phil?
But the fact of the matter is that he didn't want to make the move. I mean that's the thing. He didn't want to make the move, and At some point, and that's going to come back and it's going to bite them. Like you had to do two things. You had to bring in defensive depth, which Justin Falk was your answer there. A guy that's not good in his own zone is really kind of noted as a shot from the point on the.
Maybe he thought it was 2019 in Carolina.
Like I don't get what they thought they were gonna do with that. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. But you didn't address the center depth, which has been an issue for them for years now. Mm-hmm. They have had a guy in Larkin who is he's not a top end 1C. Like I would say he was better than Derek Stepan in Derek Stepan's heyday. Like the Rangers never had a true one center at that point in time. Derek Stepan was a borderline at best one. He was preferably you would have him as a number 2 on a winning team. Dylan Larkin probably should be a number 2 on a cup contender, like a true cup threat. Mm-hmm. But he's closer to a 1 than Stepan was. So you've got to go in and you've got to get a legitimate number 2 to support him and improve your depth down the middle because center depth wins. We've talked about this ad nauseum over the years, especially when it comes to the Igor Shesterkin talks and how you don't build from the net out. You build a winner by building down the middle and then building your defense. So to not address it and to continue to try to shoehorn JT Compher and Andrew Kopp as your options, as your depth behind Dylan Larkin, how do you think you're going to make the playoffs, even with the Brinkat having a career year, even with Lucas Raymond breaking out? Like Mo Sider and Simon Edmondson are great, but where are all the other pieces that you were supposed to come up? And like you said before, Jim, Axel Sandin Pellikka. Why is he not playing?
He was their best defenseman when he was there. One of the best defensemen for them when he was there, and they tried to get somebody else to take over his role when he was playing.
He got rid of Justin Hall, which was
an awful contract to begin with.
That was he has been awful with contracts in Detroit. Compher, Kopp, Hall.
At the time, Compher and Kopp were needed because of things, but they didn't need to go that long with those guys.
No, but you also couldn't rely on them to be second-line centers. Ben Sherratt's another one that, I mean, if Ben Sherratt was making like $2.5 million and he was playing third-line minutes, like, okay, I'd have no problem with Ben Sherratt. It's the Jacob Trouba argument. Jacob Trouba, if he was making $2.5 million and he was playing third-line insulated minutes with a decent puck mover, okay, that's fine. I could deal with that then. But you have to mitigate something like that. And Steve Yzerman and the coaching staffs in Detroit, and even before McClellan, they've done nothing to mitigate Sherratt, who, as Brian said here, has been ass forever. He has.
Yeah. Kind of been going back a while that he hasn't been all that good. By the way, guys, Anthony brought up that Hughes was from Hamilton, and that's where the Islanders got their AHL team going.
Yeah, I don't think that has much of a bearing on anything.
No, because he wants to be on the NHL team. That's the only reason.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to sign with a team to be stuck in the AHL. I think he's going to want to go.
Look, I think the Islanders would be a good fit for him. I think Montreal. I think Toronto. I think Toronto.
But is he going to play on the island? That's the thing. Right. Is he going to play there? I think he's going to want to go. He's going to have a mentality like Colin Graff did a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's going to go where he's going to be, where he's pretty much got a clear-cut gateway to the NHL, and he can play some actual minutes there. Right. So I don't know if the Rangers fit that build anymore, just because they have so much young talent that's fighting. And I hope they get the chances and there's no Connor Sheary or other bullshit here next year.
Yeah. Oh, no, don't worry. Connor Sheary will be back. All he has to do is say Boston sent me, and they'll let him in. Doors will swing wide open, and that's it. That's what you could get for a 6-goal season out of a guy on
nepotism shakes the building.
Yeah. So
I mean, and we haven't even. We're not going to address what's going on with a Rangers super fan. As I roll my eyes.
no, don't even
No,
talk
I'm not.
Not even
about
talk
this one?
about
How
it.
about this one though? All right, real quick before if Phil keeps going, that's great. I'm gonna step off.
Yeah, I'm gonna get off too. I gotta get off.
I'm gonna leg drop you, bro. I
Yeah,
swear I'm gonna
yeah,
leg drop you if
dude,
that happens.
dude, Hulk Hogan leg drop big time. Like that.
The TNA theme will come on this bootleg NWO shit,
Yeah.
and then I'll give Brian the big.
I gotta say this though.
Phil, kids, you're off season.
Rank.
Wow. We could do player. We could do you. Yeah, you are the TNA Hogan of the week, buddy. For that
Jim was
one.
gonna say something, and then I cut him off. Sorry.
So here's the thing. So there's a lot of speculation going around. I just want to bring up this Devils thing here on a Friday. A lot of speculation going around. Seems like Brendan Shanahan's name's picking up more and more as the president of hockey operations for the Devils. And a name that I would keep an eye on. Thank you for everybody who listened Wednesday. Jamie Langenbrunner's name is picking up steam as well. He's very highly regarded in that Boston system. He's paid his dues, gone through player personnel.
He's going to be the guy for the Devils. I'm telling you right now.
I think so too. I think that's going to be their guy. I think that's what they're going to roll with, and I wouldn't have a problem with it. I think that's a really good hire because he knows what he's doing when it comes to player development, drafting. He understands the game. He's paid his dues. That's a guy, like we talk about it. We talked about it with Cooper about going through the system. He's gone through every aspect of the Boston Bruins system right now. So just a little Devils note. Since Anthony's throwing in Islander stuff, I'm going to throw Devils stuff in.
Well, you're supposed to throw it. It's
by all means, bro. Yeah, I mean,
everywhere.
This is what we brought you on board for.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. It's interesting how we've mentioned this earlier in the week, and now all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like, oh, Langenbrunner, oh, this guy, oh, really? Okay. Just remember where you heard it.
You and I talked about that last week on here.
I know. We said it. Like, so.
I was going to say, for those of you who missed it, Wednesday, Jim literally left us and then went right on with NHL Network like that and did a 20-minute segment with them. And again, try to get us Victoria Matiash. She's amazing.
Yeah. Also, shameless plug. I'll be doing the same thing tomorrow morning with the boys, the Hot Stove Boys. So
nice.
For those around, check it out. 11:30.
Check that out.
So I'll post this. I'll put it on my Twitter again tomorrow for everybody's following.
Absolutely.
All right.
Already posted. Make sure that we got ears on you, Jimmy.
So yeah, but no, I just think that's the play for New Jersey. Shanahan, Langenbrunner, get in the right system. I don't think it's going to be Sonny Mehta. I think the connection to Toronto with his, I guess, agent, you want to call it, the guy who's leading the firm, just makes too much sense. And again, I don't know how much Sonny Mehta was behind Florida's success. I know he led the analytics department. How much was it? Was it scouting?
Jim Housen.
Jim Housen.
Jim Housen.
Yes. Danhausen, by the way, shout out Danhausen, killing it.
All right, so I want to say one thing quick about Danhausen. I am an AEW guy full and through. WWE, the product and the production and TKO has just lost me for the last couple of years, ever since TKO. We've talked about this. But I'll tell you right now, everyone that has gone back from AEW to WWE to get their bag, like Cody Rhodes, very, very happy for, even though I know he's kind of gotten stale with the fans in the last year or so. But Danhausen, guy that's grinded on the indies for years. And he got into AEW, and then he was with AEW for a minute on TV. He was coming in and cursing people and stuff like that. And now he goes into WWE. Now he's getting his bag. I am very, very happy for Danhausen. I've heard he's nothing but good things about him as a person. I've heard he's amazing with the fans. He's one of the nicest guys you'll meet at any of the conventions. So Danhausen, congrats, man. Wish him nothing but the best in WWE. I really do. Absolutely. And if he wants to come back to AEW, I'm sure everybody would love him back there.
Dude, The best part about Danhausen is the fact that he doesn't even wrestle. He just sells merch and does all his backstage stuff.
Dude, he's the #1 merch seller in all of WWE right now. And he doesn't even wrestle. Like, this guy is such a good he's such a good comedy act that it's not even funny. Yeah, like Brian's saying here. Like, just... Like, I've heard this from everybody I have talked to online that has said that he is just such a good dude. And yes, he can wrestle. When they gave him chances in AEW, he was good.
Yeah.
He was good. I'm not saying great, but he can absolutely hold his own. Very nice, very evil.
That's it, baby.
I know Mark is like, how does that work? But it works. In the world of professional wrestling, it works.
So that's my.
I need Truthhausen. Give me Truthhausen.
Truthhausen, baby. I'll take it. So
give me Truthhausen.
I'm gonna jump off for a little bit. Maybe I might come back on. But Jim, great work.
Evan said that he'll come on. I'm gonna throw.
I sent him a link.
Perfect. I'm jumping off. Great to be on with everybody today. Jumping on, little Q&A. It was fun chatting again, second time this week. So, guys, enjoy your Friday. No hockey on, so yeah.
Yeah,
hopefully they'll enjoy us.
We don't really have hockey. I have some things I got to do in a little bit, so I could stay on for a bit. But I wanted to make sure I got on and. So I told some people that I would make sure that I have another one or two of these before the season ends. We might even do some playoff ones too. So
we got to do our playoff picks probably next Thursday.
Stay tuned. Watch out. Stay tuned. So
all right,
guys. I'm taking off. Thanks to everybody in the comments.
Bye, Jimhausen.
Bye.
Oh, and just for my brother-in-law, Wu-Tang. He was a big Wu-Tang fan, and I just want
Wu-Tang is for the children.
I want to make sure that I gave a little tribute to him with that. So,
all right. Every time
later,
I think of the Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty barbershop heel turn, I always think of Bobby Heenan. Oh, he tried to get out through the window. What a coward that Jannetty is. Oh man. Bobby Heenan was just unbelievable. And now I am going to bring in Evan from Rangers Central. What's up, buddy?
What's going on? It's been a while since I've talked hockey, so this is honestly going to be really weird. It's been mostly baseball, so definitely has been
Oh my God, wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Oh God, we got a Shockmaster reference here. Oh, from Dave. Oh, geez. Falls on. Oh, man. If anybody you've ever seen the Shockmaster clip, look that up if you haven't, if you're not a wrestling fan. It's just one of the all-time great blunders in wrestling. And it basically ruined a gimmick that probably was never going to take off. But it's one of the funniest things ever. Yeah, throwing up the Wu-Tang signs in the air. I love it. But, yeah, it's funny because now we're talking about, let's finish this up on Yzerman because I know you have your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you have to say because I saw your comments in the chats, but take the floor.
I just wonder, the old sayings of the Yzer plan, is there even a plan? Because the plan you thought going in was, okay, this team will rebuild. You'll see the young prospects get implemented. And realistically, we talk about it with how the Rangers failed their quote unquote rebuild. Detroit, you could argue the same exact thing because they have two really true impact players from their rebuild with Raymond and Seider. I mean, obviously they brought in guys like DeBrincat along the way, but a lot of that roster is just getting up there in age, and they're not supplementing the young players enough. And not only that, but these young players that they're not supplementing the minutes to, I don't understand why they're prioritizing these veterans over them. And my opinion, obviously from the Rangers 2024 deadline, but to be half pregnant at the deadline, especially when you're a team that's not been in the playoffs in years. And it's really to a point where Yzerman's seat at least should be very hot if it's not. To not make that move that you were talking about with getting a true number 2 center and giving up the assets to maybe get a Trocheck or anyone else that maybe wasn't moved but could have been moved if you gave them the right price. I don't understand what the idea is here.
Yeah, I mean, I go back to this comment before. I mean, Brian's not really an old head per se, but like he's not wrong. Like where is the character there? Where is the toughness? Where is that drive to make this playoffs? Like I just don't see it. Like I like Raymond as a player. I thought Raymond was going to have a 90 to 100 point season this year. Wrong, idiot. But like who is that drive? Who is that leader? Who is their ace? They don't have it. When we talk about like the Islanders, Mark keeps asking, what do they do well? What is their identity? I think you could say the same thing about Detroit. Am I wrong here or?
No, you're right. And honestly, they've lacked an identity, in my opinion, ever since Yzerman took over. Outside of the years they were bottom feeders, and it's like, okay, this team just outright sucks. But ever since they've been building, quote unquote, building their way back up, they've been kind of just a boring team in general, honestly. Like you would think a team that sucked for that long, or started to gather the young assets would have exciting pieces, but there's no one on that team where it's like, you know what, I'm going to tune into a Detroit game tonight. It's just like there's nothing exciting for me about that team.
Like you bring in DeBrincat, which was a really good. It's worked out very well for them. Now he's having a career year, but you bring in Kane, and Kane in that first like half season where he came in his year after the Rangers, he looked good. He was about a point per game, but Kane's falling off. He's old. How much does he have left in the tank? And honestly, like where is the help? Where is the help? Because you've got basically 3 guys who can really do the scoring for you in Raymond, Larkin, and DeBrincat. And then after that, who are your options? An aging Kane. You don't have a true number 2 center. You're relying on Andrew Kopp and JT Compher for what, 50, 60 points? You're not getting that for those guys. You're not getting that. And then your defense, like Seider can give you 45 to 55 points and give you real solid play in his own end. Edvinsson has taken the next step this year, which is great. I mean, we talked about like who they haven't hit on and who they have. I mean, they've hit on Seider, they've hit on Edvinsson, they've hit on Raymond. Sandin Pellikka remains to be seen. You have Augustine and Casa in the system. I mean, they go and get Gibson, which was the right move. They needed somebody right now, to kind of be the guy up front and then let these 2 battle it out to see who the guy is in the future. But where are the forward prospects? Like Bear looks good.
Casper's been like so underwhelming.
What's that?
Casper's been underwhelming.
Casper, another. Who else called Casper a friggin' future breakout guy this year? Idiot. Durr. Fucked up on that one too, Phil. But guys just need to be better, and you're right. It's been disappointing. Kaylee's right about this. They're blah. They're really just blah. Like and a few of their guys that I expected to be good have not been good for them. Finney came out of nowhere with that hot start in October. We all knew that wasn't sustainable, but he's fallen off hard. Like, is he a bottom 6 player or is he a middle 6 guy going forward? Like, I don't know.
If he was on the 3rd line, I think you'd feel better. But it's like, even when you can't do it because you look at this bottom 6 and you just got an aging David Perron, aging JVR. Like, that's your scoring depth, but they're not providing the scoring depth, and it's not like they add physicality for that bottom six either. And those guys aren't even your main penalty kill. Those guys aren't even on the penalty kill. So it's just a waste of roster spots for those guys when they're not giving you anything and they're just rotting away in your bottom six.
Yeah, you know what? Perron in his day was quite the shit disturber, but it looks like those days are like well behind him now. He's 37 going on 38, and that's really like when that downgrade kind of, you know, kicks in. And, you know, give David Perron credit. He was a first round pick in 2007, and he's got 330 goals and 810 points. Nice career. Very nice career. So, I mean, Brian, you're absolutely right about this. And you know what? Who can argue this? Because Evan, I'd imagine you have to feel the same way about this.
Yeah, 100%. There's no doubt about it that, I mean, it's how I feel about Drury, that if Drury worked for any other team with the job he's done, he would have been fired by now. Yzerman definitely.
I think Colorado may be the only other team where he could get, maybe Colorado or Buffalo, where he could get away with this because he's revered in those two places. But like you're Brian, both you and Brian are absolutely right about it. Like Yzerman probably should have been fired a couple of years ago. But Brian, thank you for those last couple of sentences. For everybody that's screaming for Mark Messier as a GM or a coach or anything like that, this is what happens. You bring in guys that don't have the experience, and Yzerman had the experience, and he still has done this. So, yeah, like, would I take Yzerman over Chris Drury? 100%. But the bar is low there. The bar is low. So, I mean, yeah, and Kayla, you're right. The fact that Drury gets the same treatment as Yzerman shows you, like, how crazy this organization is. So, I don't know what they think they're going to accomplish by giving Drury chance after chance after chance. But, I mean, if you read the article that I was referencing before, I mean, Vince brings up a good point. Like, how much of a leash is Drury going to get? And that's what I kept saying. If he fucks up the Trocheck deal, how long do you think that leash is going to be?
I don't even, the thing is, like, I don't even know, because every time I think, okay, this is where the leash has to get shorter, it just doesn't with this guy. And that's why I'm at a point where I'm just done guessing when he's going to get fired. When he does, great. I'll be doing a generational stream. I could tell you that. I already have so many ideas planned for that stream. I cannot wait for that. But I'm just at a point where I don't even know when it's going to happen, because every time I'm like, okay, you know, the Panarin deal, if he botches that situation, you know, surely he's going to go. This past off season, if he botches it, you know, surely he's going to go. The JT Miller stuff, like everything. I don't know. And now I just feel like this hot stretch at the end is going to buy him extra time too, which is just so frustrating right now.
Yeah, I mean, I probably don't leave Tampa if I'm Yzerman. I don't know what happened behind the scenes there. I don't know if it was more money in Detroit. I don't know if it was more responsibility. I don't know if it was. I don't know how his relationship with ownership was, but I can tell you right now, I would probably have stayed in Tampa, because you're going to be working where the state taxes are less. You already have a great core intact. You have your guys. You were that close to winning. Like, I don't understand it. I mean, but hey, but if Brian's saying here that the Trocheck deal and the Brady Tkachuk negotiations are his leash, if that's the case and he fucks it up, we know, like I said, we know that Dolan doesn't like rebuilds. Like, it's to a point where he couldn't even use the word, Drury couldn't even use the word rebuild in the letter. So, but yes, that leash is probably two feet too long. Dave is waiting for that intro video.
I can tell you there's going to be balloons, party hats. There's going to be a lot going on for that stream.
Oh, yes. Oh God, I gotta be there for that one then.
See, this has been, the point the entire time, Kaylee, is that it's just Dolan can't understand the long term. He can't see the long term vision where if you actually go through a rebuild the right way, that you'll eventually end up as a perennial contender, and that will eventually lead you to potentially get more ticket sales. He wants those ticket sales right then and there and as soon as possible. That's why you're always going to see this team, as long as he's the owner, try to stay afloat in some degree. And it's frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. But at the end of the day, that's what it is. And unfortunately, nothing we could do about it. That's why, I'm at a point where, I don't care to talk about this team. I don't get frustrated. It's just more, well, I do get frustrated, but I don't go all yelling and screaming anymore because it's like, what's the point? This is just what the organization is, and it sucks. And hopefully one day they'll wake up and realize what they're doing and actually change their ways. But it is what it is. And yes, exactly, Dave, a perennial contender more than just 1 to 2 years. And that's what the point of this quote unquote rebuild was. And the window was 3 years long.
Here's the problem, Gabe. There was more to Buffalo's issues than rebuilding itself. They had the wrong guys in place for years. They went from Murray to Botterill to Adams, and it just wasn't working. It wasn't working. I mean, when you have the wrong guys in place, they botched the whole Jack Eichel thing. They screwed that up completely. Yeah. They didn't let teams talk to him. They could have they just let him get the surgery. He probably still would be there at that point.
He would.
Yeah. And then, I just think that Buffalo it's not right to point at them because there were so many external factors and extenuating circumstances that kind of compounded to have that team be out of the playoffs for 14 years. So, I mean, that's just not something you see in general. So I don't like using that as a example.
And I'll address this comment in a minute, but just to go with that Buffalo point too, for every Buffalo, I could tell you, because we spoke about this in DMs, your Colorados of the world, where that team bottom feeders, and it was the reason they got McKinnon, the reason they got McCarr, Rantanen, Landeskog, and built up to where they did. And look at them. They're perennial contenders. And sure, you could argue that, I mean, I would take a cup. I could tell you that I would take a cup. And you could argue, for how good they are, they should have multiple. But look at them right now. They are once again in a spot where they could contend for a Stanley Cup because they get generational players. You need those kind of talents to win, which is also why I'm frustrated by this whole thing of the Rangers on this hot stretch right now. And, I get it that the bottom team doesn't necessarily win the lottery every time, because I know someone's going to say that, but I'd rather have the best chance at the end of the day, because this team needs that kind of generational talent. And whether McKenna becomes that or not remains to be seen, but I'd rather have that chance of seeing Gavin McKenna potentially be that franchise-altering talent than falling in the draft and getting, a 70-point player, which is useful, but this team needs a true franchise-altering talent. And we spoke about it also in DMs that the Laugh and Kako thing has just made this fan base, I don't know how I want to word it, but it's rewired their brainwashed them into thinking that, these guys won't have success just because they're Rangers, which again could be the case, but I'd rather have that chance than not.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I can't believe I'm having arguments with people about culture wins as opposed to the franchise talent when the same people James, what are you talking about? We drafted EJ.
That's true. That is true.
I mean, but like, you can't sit there and champion culture wins while you're turning around and saying, oh, this team is terrible at drafting and developing. You have to either be on one side of that fence or the other. You either have to think that the culture wins are good for the team and that you just try to win and do whatever. Where the Ethan Embry, yes, Ethan Embry, as Mark called him, Preston from Can't Hardly Wait. But you can't have that. You need these players, and I don't care if it's 9.5%, 13.5%. I don't care if I want the higher percentage. I know they weren't going to catch Vancouver. Maybe after. Oh God, Mark! Enough with your freaking bad energy in the comments, Mark. Stop it. God, he's trying to give me PTSD. Next thing I know, he's going to freaking mention Hugh Jessamine and Dylan McElrath. I'm going to want to find him and punch him. You know what? I'll just ask Maria to smack him for me. Maria won't have a problem doing that. But
yeah, and
then I got my buddy in the background going Pavel McBrendel because of freaking McDonald's, where he showed up 25 pounds overweight the training camp in 2000. Yeah, let's just remind me of some more prospect busts that we've had. Great. Yeah, that's why I continue to say that we need Gavin McKenna over those guys. Well, if you want to tell me that Gavin McKenna and Alexis Lafreniere are on that same level, you wouldn't want to you wouldn't want to have another young guy that can come in and produce and maybe give this team a chance in the future.
You see, this is also the thing too. The same fans that are sitting here and telling me, oh, Lafreniere's turning a corner now that he's getting power play one time and all this other stuff. Look at the stats right now and everything. They're the same ones that are saying, oh, well, the ethical wins, the culture wins, and let's go. We don't need the first overall pick because we're going to botch it anyway. Well, you're celebrating Lafreniere right now, so you don't think McKenna could at the very least be, a 70-point player at the absolute worst, which, again, is a fine player, and it goes back to my point where they need better than that. They need someone that is truly going to take this team over the top, give you a reason to actually sell $200 tickets, but I just
100% agree with this. They should have committed to the kids, not even just after New Year's, but that December mire that they had, that should have been it. They should have said, you know what? This is not working. This is not working. We're bringing up the kids. Let them play. And they started doing so slowly because that's when really Perreault came up, and Perreault's looked great. But the other ones should have came up. Sheary shouldn't see another friggin' minute with this Rangers team. I can deal with Rodzinski as a fourth-line center, but if you've got a fourth-line center that can come up and replace him, okay, thank you for your time, Johnny. You were a good soldier here. I like you. Nothing wrong with you, but they've got to go in another direction. But I don't know if they have a young fourth-line center that can come up right now and take those minutes.
No. At most, maybe Dylan Rubrick. That's really about it. But, I mean, even going into the year, this is why I was upset when they signed a guy like Taylor Radish to a 2-year deal, when they even gave Sheary that contract. It's like, don't you want to give the minutes to guys like Offman, which obviously, he's gone now, but, at the start of the year, it's like, why not give these guys the minutes instead of playing pretend and thinking you're closer to a cup than you are?
We have
because you're not there. Yeah, that's true. I mean,
that's
not
your
that he's ever
center right there. Yeah.
Not that he's ever healthy, but yes.
No.
What was that comment before though? I think James had that I said I'd address.
It was the one about Cooley, Greentree, and Miller playing on a line together.
I mean, sure. Like, here's the thing: is the problem is you could sell me on that being a good third line on a contending team, but the problem is that's going to be this team's second line potentially next year.
Yeah. because
if you,
Trocheck's going to get dealt in the offseason, and it might be an underwhelming return. So just be prepared for that.
I'm very prepared for that. I have no expectations with that deal. But yeah, the problem is that's going to be the second line, and that's where it's like I wouldn't feel good about that. But if you could tell me, you know, Greenstreet and Cooley are your future third line wings, okay, cool. But that's just unfortunately not the case. And you know, as nice as it is with these young kids coming up and producing, like it's great, but none of them are needle movers outside of maybe Gabe. But even then, I would argue, you know, if you are building a team that is looking to contend for a Stanley Cup, Gabe's probably ideally more of a second line winger on a team that's looking to go on deep runs and truly contend. You are still so many pieces away, which again, I can't stress enough how important it is they land the first overall pick this year. And whether McKenna becomes a superstar or not, I don't know. But if he does, and you miss out on that because of a couple of culture wins, I think I'm going to lose my damn mind.
No, and you know what? And that's why, like, I had people come into my mentions when I've posted these things and like, why are you being such a dick about it? Like, no, like you can't listen, you cannot complain because these are the people that all do it. They all complain and say, oh, well, we don't have a franchise guy. Oh, well, we don't draft and develop franchise guys. You know, like, listen, you cannot sit there and say that, oh, well, these culture wins, which again, once the calendar year passes over and we go into that next season and then there's pressure to perform, those wins don't mean anything at that point. They don't, because they don't carry over. Because right now these kids are playing pressure free. They're just going out there and just go out there, go do your thing. But you know, the minute when it comes back to the standings mattering, what's Mike Sullivan going to do? Mike Sullivan is going to shift his focus to winning games again. And what is that going to mean? He's going to ride veterans that probably shouldn't be there, that they really don't need when they should be focused on developing kids. You want to know why? Because you signed Igor Shesterkin to a contract that runs through until he's, age 38 year. And now you're going to waste 2 to 3 years of his prime years. So you have to hotshot everything. You have to. And that's what Vince was writing in that article. That's part of why they did it. And you know what? It just, yes, thank you, Gabe. Thank you. Participation awards. That's all they are.
I mean, how many times have we seen it? And I have family members that are Giants fans where, you know, they'll get these culture wins at the end of the year. And every Giants fan in my family is like, oh yeah, you know, these are good signs. We're going to be so good next year. And then every year it's the same exact thing because it doesn't transfer over. It just does not. And, you know, I'm also going to bring up a valid point here that is going to make me, you know, rain on the parade potentially, which, you know, that's all I do, right? But these young kids, we have to remember how bad Hartford was with a lot of these young kids playing there. How sustainable is the play for some of these guys? Which is also why, again, like, they're not needle movers. They could be nice complementary pieces. Like, cool. And listen, it would be hypocritical of me to sit here and bitch that they're actually building a homegrown bottom six when I've been bitching for years that they've been overpaying bottom six guys. That'd be hypocritical of me. So yeah. I'm glad they're actually doing that. But now you have the problem of, okay, how are you getting the needle movers? Where are those guys coming in?
Yeah, and then that's why you need to get the first overall pick. You absolutely need to, and you pointed it out, and you're right. You're absolutely right, and it has to be that way. You know what? The thing is that, you know, you're right. Also in the aspect that, you know, we've said it, like, you can't overpay your Barclay Goodrows. You have to draft and develop those guys, and that's not terribly hard to do. Like, this team has actually been halfway decent at getting those types of guys over the years, or your Brandon Dubinsky's, or your Ryan Callahans, or your Derek Stepans. They've been good. it's the first round, which they have not been good on for a very long time when you think about it. So 2000, no first rounder, because that was a part of the trade with Tampa. That ended up getting them back into the that third pick in the top 10 in 99. 2001, Dan Blackburn was drafted, I think 10th overall. I think he was 10th overall. 2002, they didn't have it because they traded for Pavel Bure. 2003, Hugh Jessamine, one of the worst picks ever. 2004, Al Montoya, turned into an okay backup. 2005, Mark Stahl. Okay. Played over 1,000 games in the NHL. Was at one point, it looked like he was going to be a cornerstone defenseman for them. Not a bad pick, especially at 12. I think it was 12. Yeah. It was one pick behind Kopitar. So they moved up from 16 to 12. 2006, Sanguinetti, and then Giroux goes one pick later. The absolute dog shit. Sharapanov would have been an absolute superstar had he not died. Just terrible, unfortunate accident. 2008, Del Zotto had a 40-point season for them. Dealt away for Kevin Klein, who ended up, kind of stabilizing out the core on D and helped them to a finals and a President's Trophy and a couple of other playoff appearances. Good soldier for them. 2013, nothing. Rick Nash, Kirby Reichel, Rick Nash trade. 2014, nothing. It was the Marty San Luis deal. 2015, also nothing. Marty San Luis deal. Keith Yandel came in. They dealt a first-round pick for that. Nothing in 2016. And then here comes the wonderful 2017 draft of Elias Anderson and Filipino. And Filipino just...
Can I just bring up, sorry to cut you off, but like 2017, can't that just open everyone's eyes as a prime example of the difference between having a top pick versus not? And I know Elias Pettersson has not been the same player, but like the difference between the 7th and, what Elias Pettersson has been, or Miro Heiskanen, Nico Hischier, the difference between just the gap between there is a huge difference.
Suzuki, Velarde, Natchez, Tippett all came out of that draft.
That's who. I mean, you still could have even got him.
Yeah. And who did they come out with? Anderson and Hedel. Because Gordie Clark thought that he was the smartest man in the room. He was like Dave Gettleman with the Giants. Oh, I know better. I know better. I know this. Meanwhile, your track record, it was dog shit. So, like, the guy that got tricked into thinking that Dylan McElrath was somehow their answer because they got bitched around in a home and home on the last 2 games of the 2010 season. Just, all right. So to be fair to them, Jack Hughes was always going number 1 overall. The only way they were going to get him is if they would have gotten the first pick, and they didn't. So, listen, Capo Caco was the consensus too in that draft. We can look back on it now, but the boards all said Caco at 2. You can't fault them for going with the board. You can't. I
don't think he's talking about that. I think he's just talking about purely the difference between, even first and second overall pick. There could be that sort of difference in the player that you get. And if that's the case, then 100%, it could make a huge difference. And, this is the point that this fan base does not understand, that you need these game-breaking talents to win a Stanley Cup. Every team that wins a cup has multiple game-breaking talents. I mean, obviously, again, Colorado ran through that. Vegas makes the trade to get Jack Eichel.
Yep.
Florida, Barkov, they obviously end up getting Matthew Tkachuk. I mean, I could go down the list, but you get the point here that you don't win without multiple game-breaking talents. And this team is still, in my opinion, a true first-line center, 2 top 6 wingers, and a middle pair defenseman away from truly even being back in the conversation of true contenders.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And I mean, listen, I wasn't saying that Gabe was trying to say that they should have taken Jack Hughes over Capo Caco and what the debate was there. All I was saying is that I can't fault them for Caco when
Yeah,
the board
can't.
said that. Yeah. The problem with the Rangers wasn't like them on Caco because everybody said Caco was the consensus too. And he should have been. Like when you saw him play at the World Championships and he was playing the way he was against men, you're like, wow, like this kid might be NHL ready. Problem was that the way they handled him and his own motivation too. Like if he wasn't the issue, if he wasn't at least part of the issue, then why isn't he broken out in Seattle yet?
Yep.
So it's not. So you can't say it's the issue is who came after Kako. The problem is Kako himself, the way the Rangers handled it, and just But yeah, you could talk about Seider, but go back and watch the footage of Draft Day 2019. There was an audible gasp in that building when Detroit and Yzerman announced Seider at 6. Seider wasn't supposed to go that high. Seider is he is a walking example of good development, turning a player that was regarded at like here, like mid-tier level, into a player that's like here. Because with like Nikita Kucherov, 2nd round pick in 2011. Who thought Nikita Kucherov was going to come up and be one of the top 3 greatest Russians to ever play in the NHL? Who? You show me somebody and I'll show you a liar. That's all I can really tell you about that. But like, yeah, exactly. Yzerman got that summer, he got dog walked by everybody for that pick. And then he goes and wins a Calder Trophy, and he's a true number 1 defenseman in this league.
Yep.
Like if he puts up like a 70-point season, he'll probably win a Norris. He's a complete package on D. So, I mean, you have to, the answer is a mix of draft, development, trades, and chemistry. It has to be the right mix. But you need a first overall pick in there. Yeah, and Anthony, you're right. I've seen your other comments, Anthony. I'm trying to highlight those too. But you're right. Like, the lack of direction has been a problem here with Drury. And, it's not a retool. It's a rebuild. Even Vince Mercogliano has said that on his articles, on Twitter, and on Sportsnet New York. Like, I've seen the interviews where he's talking with Nicky Lattarulo or Brandon Graham or whoever it is that's in the studio with him. And he's just like, well, it's not a retool. Let's be real. This is a rebuild. It has to be.
Yeah.
You can't call this a retool when you're going to bring in all these young players and send all these older guys out. It's a rebuild. It has to be. Because if it's not, and you're going to hotshot it, then we may just be doing the same thing over again. And like Steven said, in 5 years, we're going to be back.
Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me because I mean, the point Mario brought up though about it being a mix of development, trades, and chemistry, 100%, and that's where the Rangers fucked up this past rebuild is they never made that trade that they needed to, which we all know the elephant in the room there. We all know it. And
from some Jake and Bake guy that they could have gotten that really could have helped them out in 2024.
Oh, I was talking about Eichel, but that also.
Oh, that too.
Yeah,
because we didn't want to trade Nils Lundqvist, Vitaly Kravtsov, Filipino in a first rounder for Jack Eichel. Oh, shit.
And the worst part, too, is the fact that with that entire situation, the Eichel one, I don't know. I go back and forth of which is worse between that and Gensel. But the worst part about the Eichel one to me is the Kravtsov thing. You already had a logjam on the wings. With Lundqvist, Fox and Trouba were not going anywhere, clogging up the top 4. And you had Brain Schneider in the system. And then Filipino, you're upgrading there by getting Jack Eichel, and then it's a first-round pick, which became Brennan Hoffman. So That's the problem. Is like that part gets so lost in why you rebuild. Also, you need to build a deep farm so you have ammo, you have the liquidity to make the trades when the superstars become available. Because right now, like I'm seeing this fan base talk about getting Brady Kachuk or getting Jason Robertson. Okay, what assets are they giving up to get those guys? And if they do, then if they give up the assets, which again I don't think they will, who is replacing some of these guys because they don't have the luxury of having that deep prospect pool that they had at one point, where at least back then when they were making the trades, you could be like, okay, there's still this guy to come through the system. There's still this player, but this right now, I mean, sure, you can make a trade for one of those guys, but I don't know what you're giving up.
Yeah, you know what? And the worst part is, you got to remember, Eichel was 24 going on 25 then. That was the perfect time to make that trade.
Yeah,
you
even worse.
were bringing in a young guy that was in his peak years that just needed a change of scenery that would have been a superstar for you, and they just didn't do it.
Yeah, it's one of the two biggest what ifs for me with that, for this era at least, between that and not trading for Gensel. It's just mind-boggling stuff still.
Yeah, I mean, Josh, there's definitely a fear to be had here. And
that's how I feel.
I agree with that. I do agree with it that I don't, you know what though? Like I agree with like the whole idea of like, hey, maybe you probably shouldn't trade for Brady Kachuk, but I don't think he thinks it's the last move to put them over the top. I think he would look at it as a move to get them back there, like to kind of change the culture. Like, and what I thought that JT Miller was going to do, but JT Miller, fucking, again, idiot, fucking idiot alert. I'll put on my this might as well just say dunce across it instead of Bauer, because that just literally, I've been so wrong on some of these. It's not even funny. But I don't see Kachuk as like the last piece move. There's going to be subsequent moves that would be made to follow that up. And that's what I fear, because if he starts doing that, that means he's going to start truly hot-shotting things. And then that's when the bad moves will come in. That's when your Barclay Goodrow Part 2 comes in, and that's what I fear the most, is he starts handing out more terrible contracts to depth players when we have players that are coming up and proving that they can play right now. Like, stick with Hemelash. He's big. He's fast. He's skilled. He plays physical. He drives to the net and protects the puck well. Like, that's, yeah. Yeah, replacing Artem Anisimov and Dubinsky with Halpern and Pyatt when you dealt those two for Nash. That's what they're going to have to do. That's what I believe. And that's what I worry about. You're going to go either bargain bin, or you're going to go and find your next Barclay Goodrow and overpay him. Because you got to surround these guys with winners, right? That's the direction they're going in, right? Like Darsh. Look at Matthew Darsh. What did he do? He went out before the deadline and he brought in cup-winning experience. So what did he do? He traded assets. I don't know why the hell anyone would have done this for a clearly washed-up Andre Palat, which was stupid. I don't care if he got rid of Maxim Siplikov's salary and sent him the other way. You gave up cap space for Andre Palat?
Stupid.
And then you traded for a 34-year-old Braden Shen, who you probably are about 2 or 3 years too late trading for?
And Carson Soucy, they traded for.
You know what? I don't mind the Soucy trade. I don't. Free agent at the end of the year. They needed a body there. You keep him at third line minutes. He was playing okay for the Rangers this year. Listen, I'm not saying world beater, but he played better than he did last year. I know the bar's low, but Again, it wasn't much. 3rd-round pick. The Rangers recoup what they gave up to get him. Fine. Mitigate your loss there. Islanders, he's been all for them. I can't say he's been terrible, but I can't say he's been good either. I don't know. He's just there. Am I wrong? Or
I don't know. I've had Islander fans tell me he's been really bad, so I don't know. That's just what I've heard.
I mean, yeah, I think everybody's going to have their one guy that they come in and use as their whipping boy. And I'm not saying that Soucy's not deserving of that because he hasn't been good. Okay, so you know what? Maybe there are people who've watched more than I have who would say that he's been bad. I see a guy who's just kind of there. I don't know. Maybe then again, I'm not saying I'm not saying good. I'm not saying terrible either. Just there, you know. But the kids that are coming up are fun. Like, yeah, Sikora's an NHL. I think he's going to come back next year even stronger. I think he's going to go through an NHL training camp. I think he's going to be in an NHL workout program this offseason, and I think he's going to be fine. Brody Lamb, I think, has a chance to be a real good middle six guy. Berard, he's got to bulk up, and he's got to, yeah.
This is the problem, though. It's like the prospect pool is so... It has too many of the same guys right now. It's just too much of the same, and
he's so good, though.
They need
you could call him Bayfer. He's so good. I can't root. I hate the fact that he's an Islander because I love that kid, but like
me too. It's frustrating because
it really is.
The Rangers need that kind of talent, and this kind of that last comment though about some of those prospects goes into two other main things I wanted to get into. Of, in my opinion, which means shit, but my opinion of how they should handle both the draft and how I want to see them handle the offseason as a whole. I think when you look at the draft, I want to see them draft guys with more skill to have potentially some higher upside, where the past few drafts, I feel like they've been going more safe floors, low ceiling. I want to see them draft more skill guys because the prospect pool is just way too redundant right now, in my opinion, where all these guys, it's great to have them, but, they're similar role and there's only so much room for some of these guys. And then for the offseason and next season in general, just stick the course, let these kids play, and use it how the Mets originally planned on using their 2024 season, which is an evaluation period where you see what you got with these young guys, see who stays, see who's potentially goes, and then go from there. Get a high draft pick this year, hopefully get a high draft pick next year, and just build from there. That's what I want to see them do, is use next year as an evaluation year, not a year where my fear, and I think everyone in the comments has been, kind of saying it, is they're going to try to put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound again, and they're going to overpay someone in free agency that they're going to regret. They're going to maybe make a stupid trade and try to, Band-Aid this thing to get right back in contention. And it might put them in a playoff spot as a wild card team for a couple of years, but one, they won't win a cup, and two, then you're going to be right back in the same conversation a few years from now to where we're talking about, okay, this team needs to rebuild.
Jarmo Kekalainen, I am begging you for the love of all that is good and my damn sanity, please extend Alex Tuch before the playoffs end.
Yeah.
Like just please extend him before free agency hits. I don't even want Chris Drury looking anywhere near that guy because we know there's interest. So I don't want that at all. But I'm with Brian on this. Like, the NCAA is getting better. I'm not saying that it's ever going to truly surpass the CHL, but we're seeing more and more top end talents come out of the NCAA. Your Jonathan Taves, Jack Eichel, Johnny Gaudreau, Macklin Celebrini, guys like that are coming from the NCAA and really, really, dominating at the NHL level. Those guys are all coming from the NCAA now. But I look at Hartford. Hartford has been, like you said, Evan, it's been a clown show for God knows how long. And you're right, Brian. It depends on the school. Like it's got to be legitimate NCAA programs. Like you can't be taking another risk on a Hugh Jessamine because you think you're the smartest guy in the room and you might see something. Like these guys have got to come from legitimate programs that have legitimate, resumes with developing players, like your Michigans, like your Denvers, like your Minnesota Duluths, like your BCs, BUs, Maine, everything like that. You got to have those players, those schools. But
yeah.
And then Dave also brings up a great point here. Like, you've got to focus on skating. And then, Evan, I think this kind of extends to what you were saying before. It's got to be skilled players that they've got to start drafting on. Like, start taking home run swings in rounds 3 through like 7 and really taking swings on those players that, hey, you know what? You never know. Maybe you come away with a Pavel Datsyuk in the later rounds because you decided to take a swing on a highly talented player that, I don't know, has a size issue or, like he's thin or something like that. Or he doesn't profile as a good two-way player and he just plays offense first. Maybe you can come across another Nathan Aspinall who breaks out a little later and then his development path is a little weird, but he turns into a good player at the next level.
Yeah, you need that. And you need it, again, to make sure this roster is not redundant, because that's what I worry about with even going forward is a lot of these prospects and a lot of the players even on the roster right now, there's a lot of redundancy. And that's just what I fear. And, with Mario's comment, the problem with my analysis is that if Drury doesn't get them a cup within 2 years, we'll dump them. That's my fear, though, is that we're prolonging the inevitable here. And that's what's been frustrating me the most is I expect it to be this way. And I expect them to sign a guy like Alex Tuck this offseason. And that's the problem is this organization makes the same mistakes over and over again. They're going to overpay for a guy like Tuck who had success elsewhere. You're paying for what he's done, not what he's going to do. And it's just going to be rinse and repeat of what we've seen for years and years on end. But I hope I'm wrong. And that's all I can do is hope that I'm wrong. And they actually do go a route of drafting skill guys. They actually do go the route of treating next year like a bridge year / evaluation period. But at the end of the day, nothing suggests to me that that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm trying to find this comment before. It might be Gabe that said it, but wouldn't mind having Stenberg if they select at 2. And he talked about pairing him with Mika Zibanejad and having Zibanejad kind of like mentor him. And I mean, Zibanejad's really kind of taken to a mentor role. Like, I think this has been one of the most surprising things of the season that he's really kind of really embraced this, because it's something you've seen here and there, but I think he's done it more. Tommy asked if they draft Verhoff, could Fox be dealt for Brady Tkachuk? I don't think so, and I wouldn't deal Fox for Tkachuk. I wouldn't.
No, to me, that's not accomplishing anything at all.
No.
If you're moving Fox, then it has to be because you're really tearing it down. And yes, this comment I was going to say to pull up, and I wish they did it more at the deadline. Play garbage man as much as you can to stock up some draft picks, which they're not going to do it because, again, like you said, we know Drury won't do it because they're going to want to try to get back in contention. But that's what they should be doing, is taking bad contracts, stock the draft picks, get as
Okay.
many as you can.
And I'm gonna go back to this article from the Athletic from Vince from the 7th. I think it was Wednesday. No, sorry, Tuesday. I think this is. So basically, he talks about it's worth wondering how much the team's post-Olympic break surge will influence Drury's plans. There are two paths for Drury to take. The first one is of patience and prudence, focus building on the future, and in that case, Vince says the Rangers should prioritize the draft where they own 2 first-rounders and 11 total picks, their highest number since 2004. Trade away more pieces who can help replenish young talent. Avoid temptation to sacrifice prime assets for a quick fix. Weaponize cap space, projected to be near $30 million that the Rangers would have to work with this offseason. If opportunities arise, but do not jeopardize long-term flexibility, continue to lean on the youth that's given the team such an obvious shot in the arm in recent weeks. And he goes on to say that some will argue that's what Drury should do. The Rangers' upside will be very limited until they add high-end play drivers. I wonder how you could do that. Anybody have a clue on how you could do that? Maybe it might have something to do with the draft. Gee, I don't know. Maybe you can add a Gavin McKenna or an Ivar Stenberg, someone like that. But the bet, and it goes on to say the Rangers' upside will be limited until they add high-end play drivers, and the best way to find those is by picking high in the draft for multiple years. So in the meantime, they can staple Gabe Perreault to the top line, allow Alexi Lafreniere and Will Cooley to finally spread their wings in all situations. Gee, I wonder who could be a nice garbage goal guy in front of the net on the power play. Big body, physical, goes to the dirty areas and scores some garbage goals, kind of like the way Adam Graves did all those years ago. Do you guys and girls know if this team has anyone who can fit that bill? Anyone? Bueller? I wonder if that guy wearing number 50 could do that. So, but yes, and that's the thing. It's Vince lines up what they should do. And Evan, you're right about that. They should do. It's just we all know Chris Drury is probably on a leash shorter than a lot of us truly believe, because James Dolan doesn't have patience. And we know when James Dolan gets involved in something, bad things happen. Tommy, we talked about this earlier on because in the other part of this article, Vince gives an update on that. And it's promising signs from Fox. So Fox went from that's a conversation for when we're done playing to we're still trying to build on something and gain momentum and establish something that we can take positively into the summer. So the vibes are very different with Adam Fox right now from what they were weeks back when that milk drinkers comment happens. Well, but yeah, the downside with Stenberg is that he could stay in Sweden for a year. Maybe. But we don't have to force him. This shouldn't be a team that should be forcing an Ivar Stenberg into the lineup on day one. We don't need to do that. If anything, this team needs to learn from their mistakes with Capo Caco. They need to learn from the mistakes. They didn't properly insulate him. Steven has told me things about them not having the right people in place to help him off the ice adjust to New York. He was alone by himself when he should have been living with someone trying to establish himself in New York. Like, yeah, these things may not sound like much, but they add up and they mean a lot.
You see it with Schaefer right now living with Matt Morton.
Exactly. Thank you.
Well, and how about even too, like, again, Elias Anderson, obviously, needed to perform better. But Steven talks about it all the time how they didn't want him living with Zibanejad. I believe that's what the story was. I could be wrong about that, but I believe there was something about that with Zibanejad, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know. He could tell you the story whenever he's on next. But it's just little things like that matter. And that's why, like, I have people in my mentions, even with the Maxwell hire the other day, because I was sitting here saying, why are we bringing back?
Yeah, let's talk about that, Evan.
Because I'm sitting here wondering, why are we bringing back someone that we've complained this organization about this organization failing their pro scouting, amateur scouting, everything, and we bring someone back that did a shit job at that. And I had someone being like, "Oh, of course you're complaining about that. Things like this shouldn't matter. Just shut up and let the person do their job." Number one, he was already here in the building for 20 years, and we saw what he did. So what do you mean wait and see what he's going to do? Number two, it's because things like this matter. Everything matters from top to bottom in the organization. Look, there's a reason why people poach guys from other organizations. Look at what's going on with Florida right now and how Sonny Meta's probably about to get a job. Look at how quick Dallas was to make sure Rich Peverly's not going anywhere anytime soon. Matthew Darsh leaving Tampa to go to the island. There's a reason why these guys get plucked from the good organizations, and you don't hear about that really with the Rangers. I know someone will point out Mike Greer, which good for him, but that's one example. And these guys usually don't get promotions either. And another thing of note is ever since Maxwell went to St. Louis, and he was apparently the guy running Springfield for the organization, they've got worse every single year he was there. So don't tell me these things don't matter.
No, and they absolutely do matter. And you know what? Honestly, we've talked about them needing to make changes in their scouting and their drafting and development departments for quite some time, because it's not just who's there and what names, what they were in the NHL, but it's the fact that they have had so little success to fall back on that at this point in this sample size, you know what you're getting from them. And you just said it before. We're not waiting to see what we can get from Maxwell. We know what Maxwell is.
He's almost 70 years old and didn't get a promotion. Like, what are we talking about here?
Like, I don't know. Yeah, I really don't understand why they are bringing this guy back. I don't like the hire. I don't like bringing him back. I don't get why we're rewarding futility with another chance. And not only is it just futility, but it is futility over a large enough sample size, a more than large enough sample size, to make a proper judgment call on.
Yep.
Why are we doing this?
This is what drives me insane. It's like this team can't ever just go in a direction of bringing in new blood. They just never do it. And it's part of why this organization has won cup over the past 80 plus years. They just refuse to go in a direction where they even attempt to bring in young blood, some new faces, new voices, whatever it is. And instead it's just, nope, go back to the well. If this Maxwell guy was any good, don't you think he'd be an assistant GM somewhere, or he would have got some sort of promotion? Why is it that some of these scouts at a younger age get these promotions so quickly, but Maxwell's been around for decades and hasn't got that kind of promotion? Like, what does that tell you about how he's viewed around the league?
That's a red flag. That's what that is for me. It's a gigantic red flag. But this organization is too dumb to learn from its mistakes, and that's the problem. They continue to make the same mistakes over and over again and expect different results. Like, you're going to bring in a guy that that didn't have a great track record, and you're going to bring him back for what purpose?
Stupid.
For what purpose? To screw up some more picks? Awesome. Don't give me, oh, well, things may be different this time around. What's going to be different? What exactly is going to be different?
What's the track record in St. Louis to tell you even the past few years that it's going to be
Not
different?
good. It's not good.
Nope.
They haven't developed anybody. You're not gonna talk about Thomas and Kyrou because those guys were already established players by the time that Kevin Maxwell went to St. Louis. Who are you pointing to in that organization? Jake Neighbors?
Yeah, that's legit the only name. Just looking at their team right now, that's like the only name you could really point to and say.
Okay, so Brian
Snuggerud,
brings
like-
up a question here. If he's director of pro scouting, he would be involved in the the Mika trade or the Broberg Holloway offer sheets. If he was working with prospects, it would be amateur scouting. No, well, I mean,
well, that's the thing. I think they brought him in to do pro scouting this time, but he was doing amateur work for St. Louis, if I'm not mistaken, because I saw that something about how he was running their AHL team.
No. All right, so I'm reading the article from Molly Walker. This is verbatim reading from it. The Rangers brought back Kevin Maxwell in the same director of pro scouting role he held for 11 seasons in New York, adding director of player personnel to his title. The team announced Wednesday before their final home game of the 2025-26 season. It's not exactly a brand new voice considering Maxwell worked for the Rangers 14 seasons from 08-09 to 21-22, but Maxwell is an experienced re-addition to the Blue Shirts front office that can use an alternative perspective as they head into a pivotal offseason. So he's doing the same thing he was doing previously here.
Yeah, but I think he was doing something else in St. Louis.
For any wrestling fans out there, this is literally Kevin Steen, or Kevin Owens now in WWE, Kevin Steen versus Jim Cornette and their beef in Ring of Honor all those years ago. Jim Cornette being out of touch with modern wrestling and Kevin Owens / Steen being one of the top performers in the industry at the time that wasn't in WWE. So like that's Anthony, this is actually a great reference here. I know Mark would have absolutely loved that because he loves his Simpsons references. What do you think of this one, Evan? This may be too long of a question, but if you guys are the GM, what offseason moves would you make to make this team a deep playoff contender? What player, what direction?
I mean, a deep playoff contender. There's no one really I would bring in for that because I just don't think that's the direction they should go in. The way they should attack this offseason is just, again, collect as much young talent and draft picks as possible. And, if there's someone in free agency, I'd have to check really the free agent board where, you can maybe take a flyer on a younger player, maybe some RFAs that are coming up, don't get their qualifying offers that maybe you take a chance on and see if you could squeeze something out of them. That's the direction I would go in. I wouldn't go in a direction of, signing veterans or anything because I don't want to clog roster spots to veterans and take away minutes from the younger players that need to get those minutes. So that's the way I'd go about it. Is it the way they're going to? No, but anything to make next year an evaluation period is what I want. And Brian also brings up a point: is the free agent class is dog shit. Like 2016 level. So that
was literally one of our pick'ems from a few weeks back. Worst potential free agent class this upcoming offseason or 2016. So we were already touched on that, and yep, this is going to be a bad one.
Yeah, so I would just stay clear of this free agent class as much as possible. Again, if there's some younger UFAs, younger RFAs that are maybe worth taking a look at that you can maybe trade a low end draft pick for. Okay, then take a flyer on it, similar to how they did with Ty Cartier. But that's about the extent of what I do. I wouldn't go crazy unless there's a slam dunk trade for a young roster player that it's a no brainer. It's too good to pass up trading some of those assets for. Then by all means do it. But I mean, yeah, this is. I'd also do this, and
I would love to put them all on a rocket ship, shoot them out of a cannon straight into the sun. Please,
the other thing, for the love of God, I beg of this team, they're gonna do it. Do not give Brain Schneider an extension. For the love of God, do not do it.
I mean, yeah, I like this idea too. I think you kind of just need to stay the course. I can see Chris Drury maybe being tempted by Jason Robertson, though. If Dallas can't come to an agreement with him, I think that's a player that they would. And there's been reported interest of it before. Just remember, though, they had a chance to get him for Kreider years and years ago, and they didn't do it.
Yep. Just another one of those classic mistakes we were talking about. Like, a lot of... That's the thing that sucks. A lot of the things are things they didn't do. And, yeah, I know, Mike. He's going to get extended. He's going to get trade protection. I know it's coming with Schneider that I am not even going to be mad when it happens, but it's just like we're going to do it again. We're going to do it all over again with Jacob Trouba.
It is literally the goofy meme where he looks all fucking stupid. He's like, I'll fucking do it again. It's literally that meme all over again.
Yeah, and the Spider-Man pointing meme, you could just put Trouba and Schneider's faces on each. Because that would tell me too, where they're going, and if this organization's maybe taking a different approach. If they actually do the right thing and move Schneider, maybe we're actually taking a different approach here. But if they extend him, then okay, we're just stupid and we're making the same mistakes all over again. And it's probably going to be the latter because we just saw them make the same mistake that this organization made a couple decades ago with Lundqvist that they did with Igor. So it's not going to surprise me when they do it because that's all this team does is do the same shit over and over again and expect a different result. That's what's going to be.
Yeah, there it is. There it is, Chris Drury. Oh, man. It's just so bad. So bad. Oh, man. Just, yeah, stop handing out no movement clauses like candy. No, extending Schneider is an issue. It is an issue because he's not worthy of it. What has Schneider done to earn a new contract? What has he done? He's plateaued at best, and if not, he's regressed.
And on top of that, I mean, like, how do you not see how much the Will Borgen contract has been a mistake too? It's like,
oh man,
you're gonna be
what a terrible contract.
This is just, again, those are little things that matter. So if I had to guess, like, what do we want to guess Schneider's contract's going to be?
Thank you.
Yeah, that's also what I was going to get into. But how much do we think Schneider's going to get on his next deal? Just an estimate here.
I have a feeling that they would be somewhere close to Borgen.
You're more generous than me. I would easily hit the over on that. I'm kind of with Mike.
Oh, if 5.5 million for Schneider, if they do that, I'm done.
I'm more with Mike. I honestly think they go over 6. But you're underestimating this organization. I really wouldn't be surprised.
For him.
Listen, I hope I'm wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised. But let's go in the middle. Let's be generous and say
hell?
Let's go
What?
with the 5.5. You're going to tie nearly 20 million in cap space to your right side.
No way. No freaking way.
Plus, you have Gavrikov at 7 mil too. So you're going to be allocating. Let's see how much it would be. Yeah, almost 27 million to between your right side and Gavrikov.
No way. You cannot give him that. 6 to 6.5 million? That is absolutely that's absurd. That is absolutely absurd. So he's third in ice time, total ice time in defenseman. Borgen plays 1807. Schneider plays 2031. But he's behind Fox and Gavrikov in that regard. Fox is second at 23-33. Gavrikov is first at 23-45, but that's boosted up by Gavrikov playing power play time too. Like if they go to 6 million for him, but they wouldn't go 7 million for seven. Yeah. Oh man. No, I'm not highlighting that comment. Nope. Not about that comment. Nope. We're not doing that one. That's bad.
Mike is bringing up my exact point too. It's like they were the only team in on True outside of Detroit, maybe, and they still gave him $8 million. I really would not be shocked if it does, because the other thing,
Gorton though, that was Gorton.
That's true, but is Chris Drury any better with giving out contracts? Because we're also seeing a wave of young defensemen getting overpaid right now.
Well, here's the issue. Those defenders that are getting overpaid are putting up points. Braden Schneider does not do that.
He doesn't. But
he just doesn't. And he's not good at preventing points either. He's a -2 on this team. He's got 18 points. Jackson Lacombe, Anaheim looks smart for doing that right now. New Jersey, not so much with Luke Hughes. Luke Hughes, Thanasis has been awful. I'm sorry. He's just not good. I wish Fitzy was in the chats. I'm sorry, Fitzy. I have to use it because it's so accurate. But Thanasis he's just terrible in his own zone. He's not like a 60 to 70 point defenseman. So it's not like you're getting a ton out of him. But Vakanainen can be sent down. That's not a loss.
My thing is, though, like, Borgen doesn't put up points either, and they just gave him 4.1. My thing is, like, they'll be like, hey, Schneider's younger. Let's go ahead and give him 5 to 6 million.
The only problem, so Borgen, at least at 4.1, like going forward with the cap going up, that's gonna sooner or later that's gonna become the going rate for third pairing defense.
That's also the argument though for Schneider to get more is the cap going up.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. That's not a good thing. But I hope we do not see any more of Urho Vikinen because Vikinen is awful on defense, and that's my friend Kenny's name for him. He calls him Vikinen. Because he would rather be on Vikinen than watching Vakanainen play defense. But, I mean, yeah.
Don't pull it up. I'm laughing at Matt's comment. I hope you understand what he's saying with that. That's what I was laughing at just now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I'll say it in the private chat to confirm.
No, yeah. Borgen on the third pair was fine until the injury. Yeah. But listen, now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Oh, woof. That's all I have to say about that one. But yes, yeah, I can deal with Borgen on a third pair. Like if you're telling me that Borgen is a top 4 defenseman on your team, you're not winning anything anytime soon. You're not. But if Morgan's like your sixth defenseman, okay.
That's always
Maybe.
been my thing. Like, I don't mind him being the sixth defenseman, but number one, he's not. Number two, he still is overpaid regardless for a third pair defenseman, which, yes, like you brought up before, with the cap going up, you could argue that will be the going rate. I just didn't like giving him. Honestly, it was also really the term. I did not like giving him 5 years at all. I
No.
think 5 was way too much.
No.
But if this team actually had a competent second right shot defenseman, I'd be like, okay, but they don't. And like the main point Brian brought up, you cannot have Schneider and Borgen on the same roster going forward. You just cannot do it.
Because it actually goes to the point that I was making before about Colorado. So with the Girard trade for Kulak, they got rid of Girard, who was a good puck-moving defense. And yes, I know there are some qualms about his defense and and everything in the playoffs and him not being physical. But now the bulk of the puck moving is responsible for by Makar and Taves. And who else? Now you have Fox, who is really your only good puck mover. Gavrikov is okay at it. He's better than I expected him to be, but he's still not a great one. No. So then you have two guys like Borgen and Schneider who just are not good puck movers. Where are your puck movers?
That was
Fortescue looks like he's a better puck mover than the two of them already. And Mario Ferraro is not a puck mover either.
That's again more redundancy. That's the problem is they need to stop being so redundant with the roster. That was my biggest complaint though going into the year was you don't have enough puck movers on the back end when that's something you need in 2026. And my question always was, who is your second power play quarterback? That was my big question going into the year. And then when Fox went down and you're seeing them have to run out 5 forwards at times, it's like, what are we doing here with this bad of a constructed decor that you have to go 5 forwards on your power play unit because you don't have a second competent puck mover?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like. I thought Iorio was an okay pickup. Like, to have him come in and just be like a 6th guy, be a bottom pairing guy. Like, okay, fine. Not really over the moon about it, but not mad about it either.
Waiver pickup, like I'm not moved by it. I really don't give a shit. Like,
yeah,
as long as he doesn't get a stupid deal, like whatever. I was hyped about the Karche one, and that has gone well at least. So
yeah, I wasn't high on the Karche one, and it's not because I think Karche the player is bad. It's just that I thought that the opportunity should have gone to younger players, and I'll still stand by that. But fair. I will also stand by the fact that Taylor Radish should have been moved at the deadline, and that Connor Sheary should have been moved at the deadline, or should have been flat out released. Like, enough with the Nepo bullshit. Enough. So
yeah, that's another disappointment though too. Is the Scott Morrow experiment has just been a train wreck. I mean, what are they going to do with him? I guess stash him in Hartford and hope at some point he turns it around. Like, that's literally all they could do with him because it just has not gone well. I mean, I really wonder if they're even going to give him the qualifying offer or extend him this offseason.
I can't imagine they don't give him a qualifying offer, but I mean,
I don't know. It's been rough.
I don't know. You're right though. Yeah, I don't know.
Very disappointing though. I was really excited when they got him in that trade. It really sucks.
Mario Ferraro is redundant. They don't need a guy like that. They need puck movers. They need puck movers and two-way guys. Like, I'm not saying you're gonna find another Darren Radish, which they dropped the ball on that one too. That's great. He was in the system, but you need better two-way guys that can move the puck. They need more Gavrikovs than they need Ferraros. But they also need They also need, I'm not even going to say Tony DeAngelo, but that type of defenseman to come in.
Hey, speaking of Darren Radish, what if they move on from Schneider and just overpay Darren Radish? That would also be a Rangers thing to do. Pay him for a career year that he's not going to.
No, I got it. But it's just, he's just a redundant part. We don't need Mario Ferraro. I've seen that name for weeks now I've seen that name for months now, rather, being linked to the Rangers, and it's just like, it doesn't do anything for me. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I thought he could have been too, Brian. I thought he could have been a Tony DeAngelo type. But he just, there were plays that he made in preseason that looked nice. And then just as the preseason went on, he just got worse and worse. Oh.
He doesn't have a good hockey IQ. That's really what it boils down to. Like he has all the skill. It's just he doesn't have it upstairs.
Nothing up there. Nothing. It's like when I think of Barzal, like Barzal's a great skater. Has great hands. And sometimes like he just makes incredible passing plays. But then the other 50% or more of the time, he holds on to the puck for entirely too long. He dances around with it, trying to be too flashy and make highlight plays instead of moving it. Like that, those are the types of, and then that leads to turnovers, leads to blown chances against. Zone time that means absolutely nothing because it's nothing but fluff. Like zone time's great, but when everything like that is coming from like the outside, like, does it really do anything?
Yeah. It's just things like that. I mean, I'm looking at this free agent list. There is not a lot of good puck moving defensemen this offseason.
There's nothing available. I think this one might be worse than 2016. 2016 was a bad class because all the players that were on it they just did not pan out. Louis Eriksson didn't pan out. Milan Lucic didn't pan out. Andrew Ladd didn't pan out. Who else was a part of that?
Did you mention Lucic? He was that offseason, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was the second name I think I mentioned. Yeah. So like it was Eriksson, Lucic, Ladd. I think Okposo got
Okposo was that offseason.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a rough free agent class. Like, just looking at puck movers, the only names I could really give you got John Klingberg, Eric Gustafson, if you want a reunion there, Mike Riley, and that's pretty much the list. This free agent class is very, very.
Oh God! So I found the 2026 I'm sorry 2016 free agent class. So we're gonna remove Steven Stamkos because he never made it. But Kyle Okposo went from the Islanders to the Sabres, 7 years, $42 million, 6 per. Louis Eriksson went from the Bruins to the Canucks, 6 years, $36 million, so that's $6 million AAV. Lucic went from the Kings to the Oilers, 7 years, $42 million, $6 million per year. David Backes, who was pretty much like beat up by that point, went from the Blues to the Bruins, 5 years, $30 million, another $6 million AAV. Andrew Ladd went from the Blackhawks to the Islanders, 7 years, $38.5 million. So that's 5.5. Mikhail Bodker, God, Speed King Mikhail Bodker went from the Avalanche to the Sharks on a 4-year, $4 million AAV deal, 16. Franz Nielsen got $5.25 million from the Red Wings. That was dumb. There's another guy they tried to bring in as a fucking top 6 center and failed. Eric Stahl might have been the only one that worked out. He got 3 years, $10.5 million from Minnesota, and I'm pretty sure he had a 60-point year and a 70-point year, which included a 40-goal season. Oh, Jason Demers, $4.5 million from the Panthers after being with the Stars. Troy Bauer, $4.5 million from the Flames after coming from the Blues. James Reimer. Thomas Vanek went on a 1-year deal. David Perron, your boy, Evan, fucking 2 years, $7.5 million. Dan Hamhouse. And then after that, it's a lot of like just minor depth signings, but that's just a brutal, brutal class. Oh, Gabe, Gabe saying your Eagles, Evan, they traded for Dontavian Wicks.
Sick, yeah. Yeah, AJ Brown's gonna get traded. I've accepted that a while ago. It's gonna happen. I don't know when, but it will happen.
Will we be open to John Klingberg as a stopgap depending on price, second power play quarterback, and sheltered minutes?
I mean, like you said, the wording says it really depends on the price for me.
Yeah.
If it's a 1-year deal, if it's similar to what he's on right now, which is a 1-year deal at $4 million, I mean, sure, why not? You flip him at the deadline for more assets, let him bridge the gap. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, only 24 points this season in 55 games, which, I mean, his production's really kind of fallen off quite a bit after he left Dallas. I don't know what he has left in the tank, but that would be like a Gustafson type thing. You know, you bring him in, you see what he can give you offensively, because they do need puck movers. I mean, you're right though, Brian. Like the bar for the second power play unit is literally in hell right now. It's terrible. So
yeah. All right, I gotta get going now. I appreciate you having me on for a bit. It was good talking to everyone in the chat that I haven't got the opportunity to talk to in a while.
Absolutely. Yeah. I might do like 1 or 2 more of these. Maybe we'll even do more of the playoffs and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. And then, if you're around, you can hop on with me if you want.
Yeah, definitely. Just let me know about them and I'll definitely jump on for a few of them. But
all right.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Thank you, everyone. It was good talking to everyone. See you guys in the next stream.
Absolutely. Take care,
Take
Evan.
care.
Evan from Rangers Central. I'm probably gonna wrap it up. I'll do about another 5 minutes. I'll wrap it up. There's some things I got to do around the house here. I feel bad because I told Kenny I'd help him out with some things. So, but yeah, we need to have a very not Rangers off season. Yeah, I agree with that. But I mean, I don't mind Klingberg if the price is cheap. I just don't know what he has left. Like, there's obviously a clear decline in his game, and what is I haven't even taken a look at the free agent list in a while. Let's see what's on this list. This is Sportrack. No, that's not. That's last year's. Season. So let's see what this is. All right. So Carey Price's contract ends. Sergei Bobrovsky's, Alexander Ovechkin's. Cale Makar is going to be. He's going to get re-signed. He's not going anywhere. Patrick Laine, Jacob Trouba is not coming back. I wonder if John Carlson, depending on what the price would be on him, but he's 30. He's going to be 37. Could he come in on a cheap deal and help out on the right side? Could that be a veteran that comes in and helps out? Let's see what's available on D. Because, I mean, they need help on both sides on defense because they need depth behind Gavrikov as well. So let's see. All right. Mark Del Gaiso. Huh. Sam Bolduc, who was an Islander, but now with LA. Jeff Petrie as a veteran addition. Ian Mitchell. And Scott Perunovich, I don't know what he would give you. Victor Soderstrom was at one point a top prospect. He's only 25. Maybe you could take a flyer on him, see what could be there. Let's see what else is here. Michael Benning's only 24. Would they, take a flyer on him? Jeremy Poirier was a top prospect for a while. Could that be someone? Donovan Sabrango. I would say look at some of the younger guys. Vladislav Kolyachonok, maybe. Jet Wu. Stetcher is always a guy that bounces from team to team. Troy Stetcher. Villanola is an interesting one because he's a restricted free agent, but that was the pick that the Winnipeg used from the Rangers trade with Trouba. Adam Boquist and the Islanders depth. I don't really think that he does anything for me though. Ryan Shea in Pittsburgh. I mean, Alexander Nikishin is a restricted free agent, but Carolina is going to re-sign him. That's not going to be a problem. Emil Andre in Philly is a restricted free agent. Ian Moore in Anaheim. Vincent Iorio, he's only 23, and he's a restricted free agent, so you wonder what they're going to do with him. Darren Radish is an unrestricted free agent, and he's going to get a major raise from Tampa. I'd imagine that they would have to keep him because just of the way he's playing right now. He's too good of a fit. I don't think he'd want to leave there. And Tampa always has a way of getting everybody to sign contracts at AAVs lesser than what's expected. So I'd imagine they'll end up keeping him. Logan Stanley as a UFA, he'll probably be making a raise from the 1.25 that he has with Buffalo. Michael Kesselring as a restricted free agent, if Buffalo doesn't re-sign him, would be something that I would take a look at if I'm the Rangers. Young guy, maybe a change of scenery. Simon Edvinson and Brant Clark are probably going to be re-signed by their teams. Maybe Kevin Korchinski is a possible change of scenery puck mover. He's only going to be like 22 years old. Jeremy Lauzon, that's a guy that could play both sides. I don't know. I don't like Mario Ferraro. I don't like what he's going to be making. He's going to ask for a raise from that 3.25 that he's getting. Simone Nemec is someone interesting to look out for because what is Jersey going to do with him? What are they going to do with him? So, yeah, it's a whole lot of no. I highly doubt it. Gabe, I would love that, to be honest with you, but that I don't think that's happening. I think Detroit values Edvinson a lot more than they value Cooley, and I don't blame them. Thank you, Mario. Appreciate that. No, you can't teach puck moving. You have that or you don't. That's either you have that or you don't. I thought I said that before, but you don't. Either you have that or you don't. That's just not something that's taught. It's hockey IQ. It's up here. You know. Yeah. Well, I'm going to wrap this up because, like I said, I got stuff I need to do. It's about 5:00 now. So, but yeah, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate it. Like I said, I might try to do a couple more of these or so. Maybe we'll do some in the playoffs too. So this way, we have, just some talk for the playoffs and stuff. But this is a good time to have it with the day off on Friday and no games on, playoff race coming down to an end. Only 3 games left. So only 3 more games of pain from the Rangers. If you're a fan of a playoff team, a lot to look forward to. If not, there's always the draft lottery and the draft in June. So then the NFL draft comes up in just over 2 weeks. So, yeah, going to be interesting. So, yes, I will see all of you later. I hope you all have a great weekend. Join us Wednesday. We'll have our weekly show. And I will see you all then. Take care, everybody.